disorder.
Like move you away.
The word delicious comes to mind.
Welcome back. One Giant Leap, episode 7, Story Together. Ian, crew, ready for this. It's going to be very fun. We're going to jump right into it, and I'm very excited.
Who wants to go first? Lots of social stuff.
Can we heal Rana?
I was just gonna say, I'd like to save Ronald.
Arnold first, heal Rana second. Let's rock and roll. Let's do it.
All right, so Arnold's just kind of looking at his wife.
Okay.
He attempts to say things several times, but just cannot find the words to do that. He's in his own little world. There's nothing like outside of this that's any sort of interest to him. It's like me at the DMV, just kind of staring straight ahead.
Right.
Nothing's happening.
I would say that. What's your wife's name?
We're gonna go with Marguerite.
Marguerite.
Marguerite. Everybody
Arnold
remember
Margot.
that because I will forget.
Marguerite.
It's
like a margarita.
I would say that obviously
Arnold really likes
I will read
margaritas.
it.
Marguerite, obviously as your wife, is very in tune with your emotions, and she tries to comfort you as best she can, although the words are kind of going in one ear and out the other, I would say, given your state. However, what I would ask is, as she's talking to you, I'd ask you to roll an intuition check.
Do I have it? Yes, I do.
Now, do you have that skill, or is it etiquette, or like?
No. Intuition is actually labeled as birds. Not bad. 8.
I think you should definitely apply knife fighting to it.
Yes. Well, yeah. Every time I look at my wife, and I'm just like, I
anthropology,
have to think whether or
I'll
not if
make-
I could
I'll
take
make a
her.
fight for
Yeah.
it.
This is like a personal relationship, so this isn't
That's how I
necessarily
look at her every time.
anthropology.
Yeah.
So-
I have perception, so plus, would that help?
Yeah, I'll give that to you.
12.
So
Good
obviously
justification.
Arnold is an academic. He's a professor, especially a professor of history, certainly earth studies, anthropology, human behavior. But obviously some of that, at least, or if not all of that, goes out the window because this is your wife, somehow miraculously standing in front of you. And she feels just as present and warm and comforting and is able to kind of make you feel better. However, in the back of your mind, you kind of reflect on, your studies of spirituality and religion and the nature of the soul, right? And what happens to us when we die. So you are having a hard time, Arnold is having a hard time reconciling whether your wife's soul is in the body of this individual or whether this is your soul's projection of what your wife was. But that's pretty much all you can get.
Or is that one of the same?
I'm just going to be contemplating that for the rest of the episode.
Sounds good.
Just deep.
Very deep.
Rana El Masri, the
My
greatest of all
girl.
time, is a very proud and strong individual who has spent almost 2 full days in the desert, incredibly dehydrated. However, she will not accept anyone to help her walk into the ship because she is of us, who
Fair
has the sin of pride within her.
Fair enough.
So she is inside the med bay as the ship takes off. You can certainly go to her and help get her condition.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, hook her up to a banana bag and try and pump some fluids into her at the very least, but I'm assuming there's probably a little bit more wrong with her than just that. So we're gonna do a healing roll.
You don't actually have to
I was
roll.
gonna say you have critical healing.
You're right.
So basically, what I was going to
she's
say...
back to 100% full health, everyone.
So you actually get the banana bag. You have her on the seat. She is acting like it's like, I don't need any, but obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't had water in a day and a half. She's in trouble. You get the banana bag ready, and then she's like, oh, I need to leave. And the second that you touch her hand and you make contact, her skin, the blood rushes back to her skin, water fills, the vessels and nature of her system, and she looks 100%, virtually instantaneously the second that you, touch her body. And Rana is healed. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
She is pretty surprised by that, given the immediacy. She has no idea what the firewall is, what you experience, so you have to explain what the heck just happened.
I don't know. So, do I feel anything at all?
Do you feel, and what do you mean by that?
So I touch her and she becomes magically at 100%. So do I feel anything? Or is it just like all of a sudden, here she is, she's fine, like a video game?
You definitely feel something. What does it feel like? It's hard to describe because we don't usually. You are in that instant, in that moment. Your body is a conduit for a massive amount of what you think of as energy.
Okay.
So I
So I
can't
can
really
feel
describe what
the
that feels
energy.
like.
I could
Moving through me, though.
Right.
If you take your fists and squeeze them very tight, not don't dig your nails into your palm, but then you take a breath in, and then breathe out and release your hands. You feel like the energy going through your fingertips.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that a lot. And it kind of feels like that, except your entire essence in an instant.
Intense, more
Helped me
intense.
handle my anger as a child.
You're like a
It's a very
tiny,
good coping mechanism.
Just a little bit.
So
Wow.
you're like a tiny Irish John Coffey.
nice.
There you
So,
can say
John
Cena.
Wick.
She is looking at you and very, very confused and looking to you for an answer.
So, I mean, I'm probably, because like I made a lot of guesses about what was going on, and it was just like a matter of me being like, I think I'm going to be able to do this because of the information I got from Pig. So I probably will just whistle for Pig, and I can't whistle with 2 fingers, but imagine I did that sound. And then I'll have Pig bring up the scatters of information that Legs was able to write out. Be like, here it is. I don't really know what I did, but now no one ever has to die again. So basically, I am the best medicine person of all human history. I am almost a god. That's how I'm feeling. That's it.
Okay.
Just what did you expect? I
I
can't
don't.
answer.
Yeah.
I don't think there's. I don't think
And
there's a
he-
sentence that has ever tempted fate more. than What you
Yeah.
just said.
I am the greatest healer. No one will ever die. Don't worry about it.
Oh, stop it!
Let's not
I love
repeat
it.
that
Okay.
multiple times.
So,
Her intent is to eradicate death.
And I did it.
so you guys don't necessarily have that entire soliloquy per se. However, what you're able to get out, I would imagine, regardless of your power, this is very overwhelming. Not just for your age. I think any reasonable human being who has all of a sudden found themselves to be
Space Jesus.
be
Nice.
an incredibly powerful. So you do summon Pig, and you are able to activate Pig's readout, which is a blueprint, in essence, for a human being accessing the firewall. Rana is an immensely insightful and intelligent person, and is listening to you while reading at the same time. And she's starting to very quickly put 2 and 2 together, that this is very real. And as somebody, I think people think of racing as an individual sport, but it's very much a team sport. And she has been in team sports in her entire, most of her childhood and certainly her adult life. And wanting to be a member of the team, she decides to go in.
Nice. That's what I wanted.
And
Unlimited
What's her
power.
intent?
Everybody buckle up.
Her intent
The
is-
fastest.
Her intent is I want to go
World.
fast. She turns
Yeah.
into Sonic.
Her intent is, where's my helmet?
Does she
To-
become a blue hedgehog?
she does not. Her
I like how you
intent,
was thinking of the word for a second there.
she, again, when you talk about the blueprint, obviously intent is the North Star of that blueprint. So she tries to, you can't take away what your soul really feels at the end of the day, but what she consciously thinks is very akin to what her soul feels. And her intent is to get us where we need to go.
Oh boy.
So
She can teleport.
I was just gonna say that.
we
sounds
teleporting?
hella dope.
when she stands up, all of a sudden, and I have to do this, don't hate me, I know it doesn't make sense, but it's too boss. Her helmet rematerializes.
Yeah.
It has to.
No, because
It
that's
must.
really her intent. Her intent is to get us where we're going, wearing that helmet.
So
There's a look that she's striving for
Right.
with the intent in which she has that like she needs to achieve this emotional and like mental image she has, and she's wearing that helmet.
It's a brand.
So she puts it on, but
Plus
when
3D
she
printer.
does, it's almost like when a machine fully comes together, and this immense flow of energy, and her eyes start glowing inside the helmet, and she goes, "I know where we need to go," and she just like literally bails. And walks out toward the bridge. So that's what happens with her. Is anyone else taking any social turns before we reach the pyramid? Nora.
I want to know who the new person on the ship is.
Okay, so
Careful.
Yeah.
obviously, just to reiterate what's happened, you had that realization, right? You don't necessarily know, and that's the honest answer.
Yes.
I
And
think-
Nora, the scientist, the true empathetic, compassionate person of the ship, enters the room. What would you like to do, Nora?
Who are you?
You say to her?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk directly to her because he looks stupid. Not you specifically, but like you're awestruck by the fact that she's returned, so I assume you're not going to be very
Not you
communicative.
specifically.
I
but you
believe
specifically.
The one
I
time where it's
am
not me
Marguerite.
specifically.
I
Yeah.
am the once deceased wife of Professor Arnold Gomez.
How does she know that?
Well, I think look at the evidence.
Yeah,
of
I mean
how
that's
she
fine.
was-
I'm just like,
It might actually, that is evidence to help you help Arnold choose between the two.
all right, so you're his dead wife. You're not looking so dead. Well, once dead wife.
That is what I said.
Yeah, I get that, but like, why are you not dead?
I think you're going to have to ask Arnold that question.
You wish upon a star,
No, he can't. It's copyright.
upon a Mars.
Hey, sorry.
So, Arnold,
This.
what?
I know.
Right?
Right.
Question. Many. How?
Mm.
You're useless. And I leave.
Okay. Fair
You don't
enough.
know either.
I'm going to
Jerk.
be confused
Okay.
Mind your business.
and
It
angry.
is very confusing.
And just for flavor's sake, can I have witnessed what Saoirse did?
Not in person, not
not
at
in
the same
person,
time.
but could I
However,
have
you
heard
certainly
about
are aware of the impact as when you come out of
Yeah,
their
I'm gonna be
room,
following
Rana
along.
in full battle array, glowing, walks past you.
She's
And she
practically
was
speed-
very hurting like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, a
Was
lot
that
of
a
questions.
Greek god? What just happened?
And I'm bouncing behind her, being like, "Look at it."
Like she looks like Athena. Like she
did
like
you
literally
do?
looks
What?
like Athena.
Ooh.
Like
Ugh.
like a
Does
true
she have an
ball.
owl symbol on her.
Ugh.
No.
Probably more like Hermes,
Hermes,
symbology, but
Ooh,
looking
ooh,
like
ooh,
but looking
ooh.
like Athena, but not with the cliche wings because she does a lot of things. In any event,
All right.
walks past you
She
like,
doesn't just fly.
wow, I see.
All
A
right.
lot of people going in the firewall right
Saoirse, this is incredible. How did you accomplish this?
And I'm just gonna go and walk behind Rana and keep walking.
now. The double finger guns says more than any words could.
Correct. And Pig and Piglet are like swinging around Rana because they're really into the lights. You know, they're like, she's also a robot.
Yeah, orbiting her.
Can I have put at least something together at this point?
What would you like to put together?
I'd like to put together that something not normal and vaguely supernatural is currently going on. There's a dead woman and a woman who should be dead. And they're walking around like it's, hot Sunday. Like, what's going on here?
Just go with it, man.
Given
I'm happy to go with it,
I know
but I
you weren't
can't.
present for legs, but I think given what you observed, obviously with how the chapel scene concluded,
Yeah.
you have an overwhelming wealth of evidence. Not to mention, you know that the human beings that are behind the persona that you know as of the Trinity have
Human life.
godlike abilities. So you are putting two and two together that the crew has stumbled their way, if not directly found their way on purpose, into those abilities.
Cool.
How? You have not had a conversation.
I'm going to
enough.
ask Legs when I have a chance.
Legs, where are you?
I'm working in the engineered lab, or I don't know.
What are you doing?
Working on either program. What's the next? What's
You
our
are
next?
probably like less than 5 minutes away from a direct assault on the pyramid.
So
Right.
I do have a question. Does Legs work with his hands, or does he lie on his back, hang out on his phone, and let his legs Because I would do that.
Some days it's some days
on
I
you.
like using the hands, but then some days it's like I'm bored.
Yeah, like
And
just
then-
some weird metal monkey man.
Yeah.
So what
Just kinda-
So he obviously uses his hands, but
Sorry.
he has a number of autonomous robots that are also doing work. But he, with his mind, he basically has the equivalent of 12 hands because he can accomplish that amount of work at the same time because he can, with his mind, control his robots, whatever you want to call them, to do the
Yeah,
work
but-
that his hands would otherwise be doing. But his concentration level is so good, he can do that.
And
So
also now he's the bridge between.
It's like Dr. Octavius a little bit.
I'm working in my lab trying to figure out what gives me the ability to bridge the gap. Like not just firewall and potential, but is there a way to translate that to somebody that is not in the firewall?
I will let you roll intuition because
Okay.
you are talking about something that's more emotional
Yep.
than literal.
Yep. Intuition, I'm expert. I'm using the D20 again, so that will be 2 rolls. That's a 3. And that's a 5.
Nope.
Plus hacker of 6 to 11.
You're not well.
Or craft.
I would say that you're not hacking electronics. What you're trying to figure out is in what way is this conduit of potential energy facilitating your ability to bridge the philosophical divide between these societies. I think I've characterized that appropriately enough so that while you didn't roll well, what I will give you is...
Wise.
Oh yeah, that would add.
Plus 2, 7. It changes a lot, I know.
Think of it like this. You're realizing that in stark scientific contrast to Asima's ability to reconstitute matter, or Marcus to be able to move himself around, or Saoirse to be able to heal the body, instead you have a choice. You could directly and purposefully influence minds, or you can... So you know when you're in a debate with somebody and there are the automatic barriers of what you already believe, your prejudices, your baggage, you feel that you can do one of two things, and it's up to you. One, you can force each side to see the other, or you can have a real and frank conversation with the emotional shields down, right? So you can much more easily, by many, many factors, basically remove those from the minds, whether they be biologic or organic or synthetic minds.
Removing the red lens behind the wolf's
So
eyes.
how
to have a
you do that,
conversation.
to what degree you have control, not with that role, but that is kind of what you're thinking is the nexus of what your character can do.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, that's just on the way in between here in the pyramid.
Yeah? Yeah? Do you have something?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to establish, kind of the literal limits of this ability, how far it extends in terms of like literal distance. Can I literally just inhabit the body of someone on Earth if I were to choose?
You can. I'll let you roll to see what you can do.
Your body's a lady now.
Yeah, what's
What
wrong
role
with
is
that?
this? This is for you, Isaiah, Marcus, closer to an electronics role than anything else. If you want to look at the limits, if you want to see what the boundaries of your power are, I think a lot of it will be electronics. So I'll let you roll for that.
15.
So to reiterate, your power, obviously, is you want to control when you die. You want to control how you go out, if and when you go out.
That was not really my full intent, but yeah, I guess that's fine if that.
Then calibrate my understanding of your power.
Okay, so my intent was to finish the mission by however
And do it at a high level,
high level,
but ultimately,
choosing the means my own death. I don't know if it's choosing, but just
you have control over it. That's how I
right.
think we kind of have to stick with that,
Okay.
just by virtue of how it is. That's why you can change where your consciousness is, because your body could die, but ultimately, if your consciousness exists, then
Well, my body's already dead technically, or it's
you'll have to create a new one.
It's being very awkwardly touched.
very occupied right now, and it's different shapes.
Yes, it does not look anything like what you used to look like in any event. So what you decide to do is, where can I go? And immediately your consciousness sees a very different perspective. It's almost like you see a map of the planet and the amazing interconnectedness of each of its various aspects from the entire planet. And you see that a lot of them are using the iris as a conduit. So you feel that if you put yourself into the iris, you could basically, your consciousness could be anywhere on the planet. In terms of leaving the planet, that is impossible because the iris is only extending slightly around the planet, almost like a bubble.
And I can only be in, my consciousness can only be in one place at once, or
Yes.
one body at once, or is it more like a soul, like a ghost, like, you know what I mean? Do I have to be in someone's body, or?
Nope. You could be in a piece of technology or a body,
Okay,
and you
Could
can
you be
only
in
be
more
in
than
one
one
place at
body?
once.
that's that. Can I be in more than one
Could it
body?
be a hive mind?
No, sir.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Can he be inside
You're pretty
somebody
brave, right?
who's alive?
Your character's pretty brave, right?
For sure.
You could be a brave little toaster.
Oh my god.
I think it's the same rules as like CTOS.
Copyright.
So like he can't be inside. Like if he wanted to enter my body, is that possible?
He can't. You're underage.
I would say that
But I'm a computer.
he actually, if you gave him consent to control your
I can't
faculties.
But yeah,
in
so
theory,
You control my
so but it
legs and I'll
has to be
control my arm.
consensual.
Yeah.
So like if he wanted to enter like a being,
He would have to
that's
do it- he would
a
have to-
sentient being.
he could try to oppose and take it, or but if that were to fail, it would be
So
tough.
may I temporarily put myself in the body of Tane to get information from him?
You
Or
it
put
would,
myself
it
in
would
his
be
mind.
it would be an opposed role.
But
Because he's
would
not
he be-
gonna let
You
you.
think he'd be? Not, I thought he was sending out a distress signal,
He did.
but now he's fully controlled. Is what you're saying?
All I'm saying is that it's going to be an opposed role.
Then yeah, I'll certainly try.
Okay.
He's been sniffing those poppies.
Yeah.
Then it is a
knows?
straight up 2d6, and I will apply back end bonuses and drawbacks to the both of you.
Can I use intuition or electronics with this roll, or no?
It's not an electronic, and then intuition. I mean,
you
yeah,
say it's
in some
combat?
ways, because you're intuiting how to do this, not being experienced. Yeah, I'll let you add tuition, but I'm gonna let him add it as well.
Oh Jesus!
Could you do
Christ.
And
combat?
his is better than yours.
Since it's like
I'll
your-
take the straight 2d6 rolls for both.
That's
of them.
wise.
Yeah. 6.
You won.
Whoa.
So what you're doing is, for a moment before you are forcibly ejected, not by Tane, but by something else. Yeah,
Like that first contact.
not that. Yeah. Anyway, it's you see out of his eyes, and he is standing. So take the pyramid, which is a huge structure, and you are standing, and it is virtually empty inside. And up above his head is the iris. And you know how like when smoke fills an area, it's empty, meaning like it's like we are now, it's not filled, but all around him is the highest concentration of potential energy anywhere on the planet. So he's standing in the center of the pyramid, which is in itself just literally a vessel for a massive amount, like a truly magnificent amount of the energy that is a byproduct of the firewall. But you were ejected, so something is amiss.
So I'm still in his body. I'm
No,
ejected
you were-
in his body
you were
immediately. Did I
pretty much.
experience any sensations from him? Any emotional sensations from?
Anything from the flower.
When you don't, you realize that something is
Okay,
off.
so he's. I think I would relay that to the crew and said I have had a brief moment where I inhabited Tane's body. He is not himself.
Just don't react to that either. We're like, cool. You just were inside him.
No, there's just Nora standing in the corner, like, how? How are you doing any of these things?
How are you presenting this to us? Like,
Honestly,
are you just sitting here?
I probably sound kind of off
No,
because this is pretty freaking.
No, I
bizarre.
mean
You're in
literally.
the ship.
I mean, literally, how are you presenting this information?
through
The
the
intercom.
speakers.
So we're just like in every room, and
you
you're just
hear
like,
my voice.
We
you're
thought he
like,
was
oh.
dead. Also, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
you probably don't even know where I am. Like,
is this
I-
an
I-
announcement? I don't.
I didn't know the captain had made it onto the
No,
ship.
I think we'll say for the sake of the story that you're aware that
Yeah.
his body is not
I'm
his
aware.
body, and that his consciousness is within the Kaizen.
Anyone with access to the firewall knows anybody else in the team who has had access to the firewall.
So we alienate Nora.
Oh
Oh,
god.
too late for that.
You would
That's
feel
You're
it.
not in the firewall.
That's not smart.
It's almost like
I'm
you
not
know.
here to
Remember what happened last time that
Hold on,
happened?
hold on.
You got
You know those markers that everyone loved to smell when you were a kid?
Oh my god.
Regular
Smell markers.
Hold
kids.
on.
Regular markers or
The sniffy markers?
you
The
know, like
scenty one.
the scent
Oh.
markers.
The scented
Yeah,
markers,
Different
yes.
colors.
So
The
when you interact with the
non-dangerous scented
firewall, it's almost like there's not a scent, a literal scent, but there's a mark of the folks who have been a part of it. So to your point, it's not literal, I know that's Marcus. It's, I believe that's Marcus because of this, what I'm getting. It's much more like, it's almost...
Blueberry.
It's a vibe.
Does
Yeah,
does anybody else
vibe.
smell
I don't know how else to
blueberry?
describe
Well,
it. I'm not doing a
I
good
think
Vibe
I'm
job.
also
check,
be
it's
projecting my
Marcus.
voice sounding like my.
That's
original
not, that wasn't
body
what
do.
I was saying. You definitely are easily able to. I'm just saying to Jared's point about knowing who interacted with the firewall is you would, in theory, because of those signatures.
I just had one more question. Was Tanya aware of my presence in his?
You keep saying Tanya, which is hilarious.
Tanya.
What direction is
Yeah.
Tanya in?
Yeah,
Tanya.
Tanya.
Was Tanya
Kanye
aware
West.
of my presence in his
Ton.
soul?
Yeah.
or his-
Probably,
Walks
but it
with
wasn't
me.
him who ejected you.
Gotcha. So yeah, obviously I tell the crew about that.
Okay.
They know we're coming for sure.
Yep.
I'm dabbling in my research station, and I get on the comms, and I say, "Hey, Nora, can you come here? I need your help with something."
Oh yeah, did you remember that I was supposed to go to talk to Legs earlier, and then I never did?
Nope. Go ahead.
Let's do it.
I was just gonna wait until everybody else went, and then I was like, I'll do it at the end. So yeah,
I
let them go.
Well, I have 3 things.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. But like, we should that should
No.
probably happen first.
No, it's
because-
already gone. The momentum from that is gone at the moment. Go
ahead.
you.
Okay. Well, there's 3 things I want to see if we can figure out or talk about or whatnot. So the first is around 13, because
Thank you.
we just kind of let him loose.
I mean, Marcus's future body, if he needs a body.
I was
yeah.
legit gonna say, Marcus,
Yeah.
why don't you just go inside
Yep.
13?
Yeah.
But
What
I'm not
about him?
there.
So 13, the second one is I want to see if with Legs' newfound power we can get a little bit more information around the old woman and her connection to the ship. And then the
Okay.
third one is around
I know you're
talking about the iris and all of that energy flow and maybe discussing something before we get there and start blowing shit up.
And the doctor can
Stuff.
simply touch 13 and heal him instantly.
Yeah, so the last time I touched him, he's almost to full health. So I'll just go stand
Wait.
there and hold his hand.
That's a good point. When you picked him up, did your bare skin ever touch his bare skin?
I mean, he picked me up, I think, was the way that I described it. He carried me out of the explosion.
Does he have bear skin or is he?
No, he didn't. You carried him out. We carried
Yeah, I was gonna
him
say
out.
because you woke him up and all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, outside it's all fine. Boom. And then he's like, off. And so I'm pretty sure
So
it was
we-
you two
We
that
carried him
that
out.
carried him out. So
But
just as a
yes,
point,
definitely.
you would have physically touched him. You're not wearing gloves or anything like that.
I mean, no. If I were to be... Actually, we were in the med bay, yes. So I would have been in gloves. So I have not yet touched him. I
That's it.
healed him with a roll to wake him up.
Yeah, which
But-
is
But that
not
was
the same.
before you
Not
got
the
your-
same.
So the way that I saw it in my head is that Rana was the first time you ever used the crit heal, like your power to heal. Whereas, by the way, when Rana sat down, there's just who she's never seen. Think about it. You see 13 for the first time just sitting upright in the bed, and Rana's just you know what I mean? Just super chill about it.
Yeah. he's
Doesn't he look
"Yo,
like?
what's
Isn't
that?"
he some horrific monster too?
Yeah, he's awful.
Yes.
Good.
He's
He
my
is.
boy.
Well, as soon as you touch him with your bare hands,
Which he
So-
hasn't yet.
I'm assuming
Right.
that he's going to turn back into his
So,
original form.
I'm for sure, that's probably...
Well, you
gonna be
said
the
you were
first-
following Rana, who's going to the bridge.
I
So that
was.
means he's
So-
alone in the med bay.
Unless when someone calls me, I'm going to follow Rana. That's without a doubt. I'm obsessed with her. So
Okay, so you're so,
Okay.
By the way, just for at least a few seconds, and then we're gonna get to you in a hot
no,
second.
no, it's totally fine.
13's by himself in the med bay.
Guys?
Yeah.
There's other AI bots in the med bay.
So just chilling. So
Just
you
kinda
what are we
clicking his,
doing about
super long
13?
nails together.
You know just by who's where on the ship that he's by himself in the med bay.
Okay, so I probably want to go down and.
And you're on the bridge. So
Yeah.
as you're about to go down,
He's just twiddling
Rana
his thumbs.
in demigod raiment
Full over.
goes and sits down. She's being orbited by 2 cute mechanical pigs.
oh, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. And then Saoirse follows her onto the bridge.
Doing a small dance behind
And
her.
so,
Look at what
now-
I did.
And actually,
Oh,
Oh, no.
I did.
Oh wow.
so when she sits down, when Rana sits down, how do I describe this?
Computer says,
The ship like sighs with relief as she gets into the cockpit.
So Rana's power is to get us to where we need to go. And so a small bubble of sorts forms around the outer barrier of the ship. And she's able to, so like we think of traditional propulsion, right? Whether it's flying a plane or driving a car. She is moving matter in a different way. It's actually very similar, if not literally the same, as what got the Kaizen to the planet very
Oddly enough.
fast.
Interesting.
So what it's a little at first because, no matter how good you are, you have to get used to this. But then she's able to, she has such a fine degree of control. So think about it. If you're a ship and you're flying and you do this or you do this, so instead she can move the ship. Almost like it's like,
like a
literally
2D
transporting from here to here. So she is,
So we don't even
is doing
feel
that.
the movement, really.
Right, because the momentum, it's not about momentum, right? Whereas you'd feel this in theory, whereas she's just literally, if you're going forward from here and then here, so as long as she's not changing your angles, you wouldn't feel a thing.
Yeah, and it's
But
not
if she
like-
does, then you would feel it a lot. Like if all of a sudden you were going like down like this, and then all of a sudden you were up
We would
like this,
stick
you would
bubbles.
for sure, yeah, you would be like,
Take a tumble off the cliff.
so she's over the intercom gonna
But
say,
there's no, like, propulsion.
you have 2 minutes and then everyone needs to strap in.
Touch 13, please.
I mean, someone's got to tell me to do that.
But you said
or
you had 3 things, so 13 you're gonna go
I
there.
will
So you're
telepathically
there.
communicate.
Asima goes to
You
13.
would know.
Yeah. Do I know, or I'm assuming I would have known that he's been revived to us, like.
You would have seen him come on board, absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to like check in on how he's doing.
While she's doing that, I'm telepathically communicating with the doctor to please touch 13 with the bare hand.
Which I would say, honest to God, like I was so relieved to see that Ron is alive, and doubly relieved to be like, I'm a magic man now. So
understand.
my understanding of like I'm a doctor and these are my responsibilities right out of my brain. So the second that he's like 13 is a guy that is your charge, I would be like,
Okay.
I need to do that.
So in the 10 seconds or so before Saoirse finds her way back to her patient, what are you asking him anything? It's like, hey pal. And it's not gonna be like that.
No, just like I know a lot just happened in a very short amount of time, and a lot has been happening. Are you okay?
No. Not at all.
All right.
Please tell me you're not going to try and kill yourself again.
Does he remember doing that?
He does, absolutely. So like I said, he's about,
Oh, right, that was my directive.
Oh my God.
I would say that
That's my intent.
Before you put his brain together.
I can't lie that I wish I had died, but seeing her acknowledge it would, I can't do that again because I know what the effort that you all went through in order to keep me alive. So
Fair enough.
you have my word, I won't do it again.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully we can. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Don't do that.
No,
Not a Seema. Seema's not a,
not so much a hugger.
unless it's a death.
Just
Don't
do
look
one of these.
I see Asima like thinks about hugging him and like arms stick out a little bit and then like no,
Later.
no. then turns around and leaves.
So
I make
you
a point-
leave.
I make a point.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Well, So I don't know if I can do all 3 things.
You can, but again, we have to extrapolate it in real time. So as
Yep.
you leave to go work with legs
Yep.
on your number 2,
Yep.
Saoirse comes in.
Great.
Hello. Okay, so
Oh.
yeah, I think because now I have an idea of kind of the way I can do this. So I would walk up to him. I think I'm going to warn him. He's been through a lot. So I would look at him pretty intently and say, "How are you feeling physically?" I would say, like, "Do you feel in pain?
Yes.
Where?"
Basically,
Yes.
think of your nervous system. Like while you're able to stabilize him inside his brain, albeit mechanically, there's like a knife in his central nervous system that's basically putting him in agony right now.
Cool. Okay.
He is
Sorry I
stable,
left you
meaning it's a pain issue, not a.
I told him he should have taken that nail clipper out of his brain. The nails went in, it clipped, and now there's a little piece of nail in his brain.
Oh.
That's it.
Just like Homer with the crayon, lighter the brain.
there. So
Classic.
Okay.
I'm
Alright.
probably gonna like
Done.
walk towards him and just say, "I'm so sorry that I can't explain this to you because I don't think that it's medicine, but I promise you that I'm going to heal you wholly and completely. I don't know what that's going to mean for you, but I am going to do it. So buckle up, I guess."
I'm gonna put myself in the body of one of the AI in the room just so I can watch this.
Understood?
Cool.
So
You gotta do the thing though.
he's not going to resist. He is beyond skeptical, but he's not going to resist. He again, despite the fact that he has incredible degree of perception, he's still meant to simulate organic behavior in the sense that, he's basically like a person in the sense that he's just been through an immensely series of traumatic experiences and he wasn't really paying attention. So he's not really truly aware of the degree of power the firewall provides. So he has no idea what you're talking about, but you are the doctor and you did save his life. And while he's not appreciative, he's going to listen.
Okay.
However, when you
So yeah.
he puts out his hand, and when you take his hand like this, yeah, I mean,
Please.
the cells in his body, regenerate virtually instantly. The impediments in his brain are erased from existence. His brain, synthetic as it is completely reformed and healed. And
Is he my twin?
and he looks identical to Marcus
Oh.
before his body, like identical. So that's what they're all the same. There were 12 of you that all looked exactly the same. So 13 looks exactly like, healthier actually, with all due respect, like a Marcus in his complete prime.
Right.
Captain, that's where you went.
So yeah, I would probably just let my hand touch his face and because he was like a zombie before, so
Right.
and I would just whisper that's I wouldn't because I wouldn't have expected him to look the same.
Right. He
As the AI, just medic, probably just a synthetic bot, I'm just gonna say, do you remember your original name?
13.
13, but do you want your own name?
He's speechless. Like, a lot's happened to this guy, but I would say he
Did you
feels
cure his
excellent.
PTSD?
But
Great question.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Let me tell you why. Because even if you argue that PSD involves damaged brain, it also is an emotional state
Right.
that can't be necessarily cured in that way. Even if you
Post-stress
made sure his
disorder.
chemicals were perfectly in balance, which I would say they are,
Ouch.
and synthetic as that may be, I would still say he has to work out what his perspective on life is, even though he is perfectly healthy.
So I would say, from the perspective of my intent, what I said was, I want to eradicate death. That doesn't mean that I want to eradicate all diseases. PTSD isn't necessarily lethal. It can be, but he now just has a PTSD that's not lethal.
I would say,
So which kind of sucks, but that's kind of what I'm doing to people.
So the intent is the North Star of your power. It is not the be-all, end-all. So when you say stop death, the firewall's interpretation is, basically being a panacea, right? Like a cure-all.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the best way to stop death. It's not literally like they're at 1 HP, to put it in system
I'm
terms,
like,
and
no.
you can always keep them at 1. It's more like, nope, you're perfect.
You're fine.
So yeah, he has no idea what to do.
So I'd probably leave him
He starts
to,
doing this,
yeah.
moving things around. He feels like peak himself. He stands up. He's looking around.
I would
He
lead him
feels
to
great.
a mirror, honestly. I feel like he deserves a moment.
Yeah, from the ceiling, one is digitally projected.
If he opens his chest, is there a bomb in there again?
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
my
shit.
God.
I ran out of lotion
No,
decades
he
ago.
detonated his bomb. He has an empty piece in his chest for that purpose.
Okay, we have a little storage container.
And he
It's where Piglet
blew up
lives now.
Mars
Coca-Cola.
Prime.
I would talk to him, say, how are you feeling, brother?
I've never felt worse than while feeling so good.
I get it. I understand.
where are we? What are we doing? What's going on? I feel like in some ways I owe you everything. In some ways I feel like you've taken what I wanted most away from me. So,
Well, we're here to save this planet and Earth. And once that's done, we can do whatever we want.
well,
Like blowing up the moon?
I am in your debt. How can I help?
Help us complete the mission. And
Okay.
then just fill them in on the current
Everything.
situation.
Okay, so we will say.
Well, actually, honestly, since we're both synthetic, and I could literally upload memories instantaneously, just so you use copy speed within like milliseconds, probably.
Fair enough. Yep.
Unlike data.
I would
Yep.
probably tell them, also, by the way, we all need to strap in right now, because I heard Rana say that and then got up. So
Right. What was your third thing? I know your second. What was your third thing?
To talk about, because you were describing the iris and like the pyramid as having just like this immense amount of potential and energy
Within it.
within it. And before we get there and just like rush in to decide to like, I don't know, blowing it up or something crazy like that, can we just think through the implications of what we're about to do? Sort of thing.
Okay. So then we'll put a moratorium on everyone's actions. We'll have you go to the bridge right after you work with legs.
Okay.
So.
What's 13's intent? Does he get access to the firewall?
He does, but he can't take that turn right now.
Okay.
Legs, obviously you're working. Nora, we'll say that you're there, obviously. Asima's going to join you guys. We'll do Asima's thing first. Nora, if you did want to do your thing, that'll be the last thing that we do prior to arriving. Sound good? Your thing, again, was what? How the old woman is what?
So with Legs' newfound bridge connection, whatnot, is he able to gather more information around how, I mean, presumably it was the old woman that got our ship here first off, and like what the deal is with her? Because I know we initially were thinking that she was the same person as the witch, but I don't think she is now. And especially knowing that the iris was not created by a human source. Like I want more information.
She shares that with you.
Kind of where I'm
Yeah.
getting at with that.
Different than your original perspective, but you can attempt to address some of that, but you're going to have to tell me how.
Yeah, I mean, using the, I guess, Mars neural link, but knowing that the all reds work on like a different frequency, but still in the same like umbrella of like some sort of neural link together, because they all have to get orders somehow. Using my potential to simultaneously drop their barriers, their shields, and peer into.
Well, it's more like
motives.
it would more like be, I think, on the ship itself, right? Because
Oh, to check
remember,
if she was the.
remember when, like at the very beginning, like you rolled to see if she was on the ship or if, like, and you saw or felt something.
She got he virused the ship. A part of
Yeah.
her being may have been like controlling the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Somebody put a virus on the ship, and I was convinced that the witch was like our AI on the ship,
right,
which
but
I haven't gone back to. So you're saying, should I like figure out if the AI on the ship was the witch?
not the witch, the old woman.
Or
if- or if they're
different.
I think they're two separate people.
Okay.
I think.
So looking into whether or not they're the same person, and then looking into which of those,
which is which?
which of those women
God.
infected our ship.
Electronics, please.
Can I help that roll? Like, because I have
Sacrifice your turn. What level is your electronics?
master.
Then I will add a bonus, significant bonus to his
Okay.
roll.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a 5. That's an 8. It rolled off the 20. And that's a 19.
Oh, thank God.
Plus hacker.
Yeah.
25 plus good justification of
So
plus 2. That's a 27.
If I remember correctly from
Possible,
episode 2, you slightly, albeit unintentionally, mischaracterized what he felt.
Okay.
He definitely did not succeed, but he was not convinced that he was alone.
Right. Yeah,
That's different than he saw something.
Okay,
he saw
yeah, I
nothing,
think-
but
yeah.
still.
I ask again. I ask the ship again. Are you her?
So when you ask who is her, do you conjure an image? You got to be honest. Did you conjure an image of the witch, or do you conjure an image of the old woman?
Well, my first question was, is there a way for me to differentiate between the two? Because what
Not
I
first.
would be,
That has to
I
come
would
second.
be
Okay, go ahead.
envisioning is the woman that I saw, or we all saw during our trial.
So the old woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever that was, whether or not that is the witch or the old woman, I don't know at this point.
That is the old woman.
So
Like,
you...
objectively, that is the old woman.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is correct. Nor is accurate.
Up until now, I thought Jared thought they were the same person. So
I understand, but that's what you were envisioning.
Yeah.
Fair enough, an honest answer. So the way that you interact with the technology has drastically changed. We think about digital interface as the way of accessing information all the time. However, it's much more like you're opening a locked door, and you open the door and it is a empty closet. However, the air in the closet, metaphorically speaking, is not what it should be in terms of information. There is absolutely a presence of some kind, and for some reason you are certain that it is related to what you perceive this old woman to be. So Asima's guess is correct.
Without talking to Asima, you are her. I knew it!
You know what? I feel like, just based on what I know, I feel like you would feel like there's laughter. Like an amusement.
Maniacal?
No. Just amused.
It's like high school all over again.
Sound good?
Are you saying you are her, like the witch and the old woman are the same, or like
No.
that she is on?
The AI
old
and the
woman
ship.
was who put the virus.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Or was it? Does she have positive intentions? Is the question.
That's the question.
The intent is unknown, but like you cracked the case there.
I think given the fact
Suspicions
that
confirmed.
the Leviathan army would have been launched way before we ever got to Mars in the first place, I feel like it has to be some sort of positive.
She's expediting things for us.
I think so. She got us here quicker than we needed to.
Yeah.
Knowing that we could find our way around the swarm.
Yeah, but they knew.
Knowing that CTOS would help us out.
I don't know.
Knowing that we'd
It's
find a way
scary.
to take the moon and crash it into.
Yep.
All right. So Nora, wrap us up.
Cool. Well, they're having all of this. Nora's gonna take a minute. She's gonna touch that firewall.
Okay.
Nora walks into the room, and behind Legs' back, just a monitor and keyboard pops out, and it's just, put a username and password in there. Just do it. Don't ask questions. Just do it.
Just touch my legs. Everything will be all right.
Jesus Christ.
Like, he looks at me, he can tell I'm not part of the system, so he's like, go over to that terminal, and then just like extends the firewall into the terminal, and it's just like, use that. And I'm like, okay. So I go to enter in my stuff, and then
So he definitely can't do that. But
No,
what
he
can
can't,
do
but
is
I'm just-
provide a gateway
yeah,
to facilitate your consciousness interacting with it.
that's what I
A
meant.
USB port.
And as
in
a
your butt.
scientist
Yeah.
and a curious person yourself, you take the
Right
opportunity.
up in there.
So again, you must be honest.
Yeah.
What is Nora's greatest desire?
Balance
In what sense?
between nature and those that are organic and inorganic that threaten it.
So when you say threaten nature, do you mean that you want a harmony between civilization and nature?
Yes. I want there to be some sort of functional harmony where humans are capable or these robotic lives, because she kind of considers them alive too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she wants both of them to be capable of expanding, but without harming the natural processes that are occurring on a planet, regardless if it's Mars or Earth. That's her greatest wish in life, is to find the balance.
Fair enough.
Roll for DM smirk.
If everything's dead, it's balanced.
I would say that
All right,
you're
Thanos.
All right,
thus far, even though some people have been close, that is the first duplicate of a desire. And when you are interacting with the firewall, there is the ghost of an image of the woman in your vision interacting with the firewall for the first time as a much younger woman, but she looks ravaged by human experience. But still, this is what Nora sees is the ghost of history, something that happened long ago, but still true to what it was at the time, right? And obviously, this is the scientist, one of the chief scientists in Mars Prime, the woman that you know of
am the
as the
chief
witch who wished for the exact same thing.
Of course she did.
Right.
Of course.
So you come out, and
Oh God, am I the witch now?
you're definitely not her.
Aw.
However,
Thanks.
Honey, you'll always be my witch.
Oh,
you feel like what a lightning rod probably feels like. You're a conduit of the beautifully chaotic, but also thoughtfully controlled forces of nature. Meaning that you can be the balance, that you're almost like the bulwark of nature's balance. So if civilization were to threaten it, you are the absolute line of defense with and for nature.
You're now an archdruid.
Am I an avatar?
What is that?
Am I the avatar? Oh wait, you haven't seen that
I
at
said
all
I can't
whatsoever.
watch it, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Baloo, dabba-doo, dabba-die.
So
Basically,
yes, I'm gonna
No.
go ahead and say yes, even though I don't know what that is.
That's totally fair.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm
so
the Na'vi from Avatar by James Cameron.
I don't remember.
you are. It is a very intense experience, and it's going to take you time to get used to what that feels like. It is difficult to describe in words.
I just sort of turn around and I accidentally just like let off a spark of lightning, and I'm just like,
If you do that, a bolt of lightning is going to have to come through the ceiling
Yeah, don't
because
do
you're
that.
conduit from the atmosphere.
oh no! I
So you
thought,
blow a hole in the
okay,
shit.
no, I
Let's
don't
not-
blow a
let's not
hole
do
in
that.
this.
Roll 2d6. I like the idea.
No.
She found
Your
it.
intent was there.
She found the one carpet on the ship and just kind of.
Unlimited. Ah.
I got a 10.
All right. So you realize what you've done in real time. You pull a bolt of lightning out of the atmosphere by accident, and a gust, like a gust of wind, picks up around it, and it's about to strike the ship. And you're like, "Oh crap!" And you push it away like that. And you're like, "All right, I need to sit with this for a second."
Ron's
Yeah,
like,
I
"What
go
are
to
you
meditate.
doing?"
yeah.
You were screaming, "I have the power, but I think I'm gonna hold back on that power for
All right.
Yeah.
Was that a flavor thing, or can she literally redirect like
Oh,
a lightning bolt?
I
Yes,
can
you can.
redirect it.
She's like the witch now.
She can
Yeah.
control how it is, what the conduit of it is. So basically, she knows exact, like if you think of a lightning rod, it's where the exact point it is going to strike, right? So she can control those points, and she can control the source, the relative power of its source. So she can do that.
Are we gonna have like a 1v1 witch versus Nora?
Yeah,
battle?
right? I think that's going to be...
I mean, the witch has been an integral part of my entire journey since I got
You
here.
versus the witch.
Witch
me
versus
versus
witch.
Grandpa, and you
Mhm.
versus the wolf.
Yeah. But it's you and 13 versus
But I
the wolf,
Me
because
versus
my
the
boy
now
is
have a
alive and
mental
well.
backup plan
gonna
that
knife- he's
Ian
gonna
couldn't
knife
even
fight the
imagine.
You're
No,
right.
it's him versus the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's him versus himself because of his wife.
Oh.
Now, everyone, for the sake of the story, okay,
Sorry.
help me out here. Let's get this. So, for the sake of the story, we're all going to strap in, and Rana is going to get us to the pyramid. While we're going, let's just do a brief planning session on what we're going to do. Initially, this is designed as a 2-part mission, just to set it: A, rescuing Tanai where possible, and B, ideally recovering the iris and doing a deeper dive on what it is, why it does what it does, and how we can use it to stop the Colossus from bringing the
Leviathan.
the Leviathan army, and thus the Tranquility Blossom to Earth. Sound good?
Yeah.
So are we just doing like a direct assault? Let's get inside the pyramid and take it, which is totally fine, because they are definitely not attacking you, which leads you to believe that they want you to go inside, which, given your level of power, you're probably starting to feel somewhat confident.
See, for me, I never like to do what the enemy expects me to do.
Fair enough.
So,
Hence the knife fighting skill.
and the moon.
Also,
Unconventional warfare.
I think maybe it might be a bad idea
You
for
really have a
all
trigger.
of us to go in
I wish.
all at the same time. We're all very powerful, and if that is the peak of the power, I don't want my power to go away. So I don't want to just walk the hell in there and they're like, okay, well, inside the pyramid, you don't have it, or whatever, some bull crap
Some
like that.
dastardly thing.
So like,
should
we have to destroy it or something, and like
We should expect that if we're going to the nexus of where this possibility is, this potential is, that they are going to be able to use it against us as well. So we need to find a way to either cut off their ability to access so that we can have an edge up on them, or figure out some way to extract Tane so that we can then go in and do what we need to do, fight what we need to fight.
Or-
I don't think going in guns a-blazing, first things first is what we
or
should do.
completely negate it.
Right.
Like Arnold just goes to Saoirse, throw it into the fire, Saoirse. Do it.
Like, we could just have Nora
Yeah.
blow it the hell up if we wanted to. Like,
We don't know
Trying to
the
recover it, though, right?
implications.
but like, is that what
I
are
thought we were
what
trying to
exactly are we doing?
Blow up this facility.
We're trying to rescue Tane, and we're
Yeah.
If
trying
you
to
blow it up,
stop
the iris, if you destroy the iris, logically, you will remove everybody's ability to access the firewall, and you will be at a significant disadvantage in the resulting fight.
Yeah, because the Colossus is still big. Like, he's
They
not
have
gonna.
100 million troops in your
Right,
ship.
also
They would
that.
crush you.
Is he
I thought
bigger
you said
than?
that this eye was controlling.
Iris. It is a hyper advanced conduit of potential energy.
And I thought the iris was controlling the troops, the people on the planet.
No, sir. Those are all things that the Colossus, the Trinity, created using the power of the firewall, which is focused by the iris. So now that they exist, they are very much real. They do not rely on the iris. The iris is what helped create them.
So the people, I thought the people didn't on Mars. The population didn't have free will until we destroyed the firewall.
No.
The firewall is not something that you can destroy.
No, the iris is basically its ability to
Our prime
harness.
directive is to
firewall,
recover the
correct?
iris. Take it out
We
of the
can't.
pyramid so that we can use it
Here's the thing.
to defeat the Colossus.
They were born as a living organism, blossomed. However, they have free will but for the blossom, meaning that their capacity to commit violence has been utterly neutered forever. So other than that, they have organically formed their own society. That had nothing to do with the firewall or the iris. They were created with the power of the firewall, which was facilitated by the iris, which is basically like the firewall and the reservoir of organic energy or potential energy exists, but human beings cannot access it. Organic life forms cannot access it. However, the iris, at some point in history, was invented to facilitate us, whomever, to be able to access and thus leverage that power, right?
Cool.
And 3 human beings have accessed it prior to you that you know of, that being the Trinity, and they used it as you see fit. They literally terraformed the planet. They created an artificial magnetosphere. They created a whole society, a massive city.
So have we figured out how to unblossom people? The entire population.
We have not figured that out. We can
Okay.
definitely probably learn that.
Could we? All right.
So what-
Michaela would like to. I love you. I'm sorry, but I'm just like. Could we just focus on how the hell are we going to get Tane out of the building? And then we can talk about crazy iris stuff. But first and foremost, let's address this as like a search and rescue mission.
I think Tane is not top priority.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, but he's part of this. So
I
are
am-
we
I
are we
am
going to
for-
let him die?
No,
Because
I absolutely agree with you.
All right.
I do want to get Tane out of there.
Yeah.
I think that priority number 1 is getting the iris out so that we can stop the Colossus and stop the Leviathan army going to Earth.
yeah, I mean that's a yeah.
If we can absolutely save Tane, 100% I would love to.
Okay.
And potentially CETAS.
Yeah, wherever he is.
So we either gotta find out how to remove
That's
it
my opinion.
if we can
Priority is iris.
I didn't realize
Weaponize
it
it
was
in our
even
thing.
removable.
Yep.
in our favor.
I
Yep.
thought it was just like
Well, we don't know if it's removable.
Yeah.
Chris is correct.
We don't know anything about
You
it.
can't
until we
destroy
get
it
there.
right now
Other
because
than
then you would be at
it's-
such an extreme disadvantage. It would be a guaranteed loss. Getting it to work more in your favor is the only, tactical officer. Like you can't just blow up the pyramid right now.
right. Of course, that would be.
So
But you have to go to it.
What
And
about
the
a
only way to go into it is go inside.
what about a scouting op?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was going to say,
I-
go and sneak.
I was gonna see if it would be possible to use Nora's ability and Legs' ability to upload my electronic essence in directly to the iris or into the facility to scout ahead.
The iris is like a two-way mirror into a different segment of reality that we have not experienced.
Okay,
in
so
our
that's not
lives.
possible. So maybe it's possible to upload myself into the security system of the building that inhabits it.
Doesn't exist.
So
There are no systems inside.
there's no security for this building.
None. You could waltz in right now.
That sounds like a
It's a-
trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
And
I'm
you said it's a completely empty pyramid, other than the.
Other than, again, like think
It's
about
filled with,
think about a beaker filled with gas.
Okay.
It's like that, except you can't see it. It's just the concentration of energy inside is extreme. The only object other than the iris inside this giant structure is Tane, so far
Where-
as you can tell.
Where is Iris in relation to
It's at the top. So like there's the tip, and it's
Yeah.
just literally built into the tip.
And we don't know what it is exactly.
I mean, again, you know what it does.
Right, we know what it does, but like we don't know, like, you know, is it a box that we can just off the wall and take it? Assumably not.
I say
That
we
will
find
take some
out.
effort, no doubt.
And when
Did
I
you see anything when he went into
yeah,
Tane?
did I see? I was going to ask that.
Like I
It
said-
was just him and this field of energy.
Correct. In
Is
a
he- and he's-
massive empty building.
and he's at
That's
the
a pyramid
base,
shape.
But-
he's
but
at
He's
the base
standing
of
at the
pyramid.
base of it,
Okay.
looking up,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
many stories.
Are the walls translucent? Can you see through it, or is it?
They're that exact color on the inside,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
with some refracting rainbow-ish effects on the inside.
So
It's not a
normal
pyramid.
citizens could not see
It's a
through
prison.
it, or like to
That's correct. And what did you say?
What was the question?
normal citizens could not see through the
Not a pyramid.
pyramid.
Oh no.
Okay,
Yeah, you
prison.
can't see inside.
Right,
No
okay.
way. Yep.
Is there an
It's
entrance?
a prison.
Yes, there is an entrance at the base, just like the traditional pyramids in modern day Egypt. It's
Okay.
just it's an entrance at the bottom.
Is it
However,
like-
the
like a
pyramid is
door?
floating.
And just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You said the field of energy and Tanya are located towards the top of the prison.
No.
The field of energy encapsulates the entire space.
Yeah, but where Tanya's stand.
He's on the base.
It's Tane.
Sorry.
I know,
I
right?
love that you say
So like
Tane.
think about it. It's like this, right?
Every time.
This is the pyramid. You agree? Like this?
Yeah.
He's here. He's just on the ground.
Oh, okay, really.
Iris is at
And
the
it's
very
way
On a
above.
platform or something. I thought
Alright.
you'd say.
the Iris is at the very top.
Hypothetically, could we have Rana pull up next to the top of the pyramid, have Nora's energy machete carve a hole into the glass, and then we go through the top?
I have an energy machete.
Yes, you do.
I've used it very little.
You could give it a whirl.
I would love to try.
Can we
Or
go
you
back
could
to the
just
fact that
either-
it's
Could I
floating?
fly?
You
said
could just
it's-
do a lightning strike.
The building
either
is floating.
No,
subterfuge
that's-
through the bottom floor and make our way
No.
down.
Limited lightning
So
strike.
he
power.
said the pyramid is floating.
That's a floating pyramid.
The floating part is news to me.
Can I
Yeah.
fly?
Same.
Can I just
might
concentrate
be
air
able to.
underneath me and
Yeah,
fly?
you'd have to control it. Yep.
Okay, how would I do that? I'd like to
Try.
You'd
practice
have to
it
roll
at some
for the
point
try.
very soon.
I need a much more concrete plan than trying to fly. And if that's a material part of it, fine.
It is
I
a
can-
very material part of it.
Then what is the plan?
Because I can fly in the predator suit.
Exactly.
theory.
And if
Yep.
I can fly, then me and her can go in because I also have ridiculously high combat. And I also have science, and I can just machete a hole into the top side of it and see exactly what is in the iris, as well as get a feel for the energy field there because of my ability to naturally attune with energy.
Plausible plan.
And
Okay,
then
and
you
then-
release
Is that the choice?
gas up into the.
Yeah, and then I could
Martian
vent all of that excess energy from different holes I puncture into it, if I can even puncture it. We don't know literally anything about it. I need to touch this.
It's not a
Touch it.
gas. That's just for visual reference.
Yeah,
But
we
That's
energy
how
can't
it
see
fills. The energy fills the space like a
But, like,
gas fills a tube.
We don't
But
know
it is
what
confined, and that's-
releasing
Yep,
the
that's
energy
correct.
into the atmosphere
It
is
mu-
going to do at all.
You don't have
Correct.
any idea how.
We have no idea what
potential
anything
energy
does.
works.
Right,
Okay,
which
so
is-
question.
We don't know what it's made of,
Before
we don't know where it
go
is, and we don't know what it looks like.
You know, and fall through the plan. Is there a way that we can work together as a team
No.
to use your power, Nora's power, to kind of upload ourselves back into the net and discover, look up the history maybe of what that gas
We're
is,
past
what it
history
can
checks.
do.
We're about to
You know
go
what I mean? Just
storm.
just figure some stuff out before we go head on in.
Or we find Cetas, who definitely could give us all of those answers if he's not, adrift as he was when Asima last saw him.
I'm happy to put
I feel
myself
like-
in his body.
I feel
Right,
like
so
what
that's
we're-
what I'm thinking.
What we're doing, we're about to rob a bank, and we're parked in a car across the street from the bank. We could do some more.
But the thing is, we
discovering
haven't done anything, any blueprint stuff.
I know. I just think it's a terrible
They
idea
don't
to go
exist.
in.
What we
Well,
ask is there's no security.
You had
system
about
in
10 minutes of time coming here. You didn't choose to do that. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's not a progressive action.
We're wearing
What
masks.
action?
Finding CTOS, getting more history.
Well, that takes milliseconds of me transporting my head. You know what I mean?
A word. Okay.
Well, just that's the way I perceive how.
Right, I'm
that-
just saying, I don't think that it's a smart idea with all of this potential energy, just releasing it into the earth. Specifically, you being so worried about the environment and a balance between it, like that could royally
Says the
F
girl
up.
that just cures everything.
If it's going to kill everybody, I don't want that to happen. Then that's my biggest concern. If-
All right, so we have two options: subterfuge through the bottom floor, or cut our way through the top floor.
or both.
Or
But
Or-
there is no bottom floor.
It floats.
Yeah,
Like-
but there's an
like-
entrance, so you could
Okay.
land and walk through the entrance, or you could like park the ship with the
Can we
entrance
just
and
crash
walk
into
right
this
in.
mofo?
Yes.
In theory, yes.
why crash ourselves when we can
This would be an 8-episode show.
You're our captain, so you could make that decision.
Well, why don't you all get out and I'll just crash the ship in and
All right.
don't die.
And then how do we get home?
We're going to final answer land. So the two options, as we have talked about, is park the ship with the base and waltz right in, plausible, or cut our way in through the top, or both. I require a final answer.
both.
Both.
I think both timed a certain way.
Yeah.
Understood.
I also
Sub-
think that
subterfuge
both
team goes
separated. I was going to say we need to separate the team, and I would argue that some people need to stay on the ship.
Correct. Well,
I
Marcus
bravely
should-
volunteer to stay aboard the ship.
Yeah, there should be a subterfuge team that goes in first, assesses the situation, and then if things go sideways, the
top team.
top team cuts in and is back up.
Yeah. Okay.
Understood.
And the ship will stay floating above, like right where the top team enters.
Because we can can we not parachute, but we can get down to
Grapple.
the entrance without having to land the ship, which is I'm
you
also
could-
massive.
You can
in-
carry someone.
in theory
No, it
would
can literally
not-
just go.
No, with the
Drop us off.
with the predator suit, you can do it, and you could just fall to your death, and then you don't
Be
die
fine.
anyways.
You're super protected.
Even if you
All
didn't
right.
have a predator suit.
Who is going to the top? Who is going into the bottom? And who is staying on the ship?
Bottom.
You're walking in the entrance. Raise your hand if you're waltzing into the entrance.
I don't have a physical form, so is there a way to get a physical form?
Yeah, his
Take
name's
another
13.
one.
Huh?
Take another form.
I can just do that like that.
Philip was.
You'd
Do
have
I
to-
need to can I create a body out of thin air or no?
No.
Well, wait, hold on.
Ask 13.
The ship has other predator suits, right?
Yes.
Take control of the predator suit.
Oh my god, just be a predator suit.
That's what his character was anyways.
Yeah, just do that.
You are the predators.
Let's do the simplest solution, and just
I mean,
make him a robot and just
Roll a
blow it
9.
up.
Yeah, you'd have to roll for it, but
Yeah.
that's so good.
I mean, it's plausible, but I'm trying to envision how you would.
Would we be able to put
It's the
Tane
electronics of
in
the
the
suit.
Yeah,
in the
that's.
predators?
Oh my god, that's genius.
What?
Can we put Tane in
Have
the
him be a
predators?
predator suit, and then as
Capture
if
him.
we're extracting Tane, that's his
Wow.
safe little box. That was genius.
And you have.
I will
control.
let you attempt it.
Yeah.
Why not? What do we have to
All you have
lose?
to do is get Tani to me in the ship. I will wait in the ship, and then I will just grab his face and heal him, and then we're done, right?
Listen, I'm down.
I'm just picturing you
In
kind of just
theory.
like
So,
Or you could,
I'm
like,
basically
boop.
just like a
Yeah,
floppy,
do a quick boop on the
floppy
nose.
piece
No,
of
no,
clothing.
no.
Well,
It's
you have
solid.
predators.
It's like
You
it's
fill it
harder
with
than
oxygen.
diamond on the outside. It,
I
it,
thought the predator just changes like form and can do whatever it wants.
it can, so you could walk like
I
a
could just be
weird,
a
like a
floppy.
weirdo. If you wanted, like
Just a floppy. No, I'm gonna be invisible for sure. But
roll for it.
what for?
To
inhabiting
try and
the-
literally have your consciousness occupy a suit of armor.
Well, it is partially computerized.
I'm
right?
aware of what it is. I invented
So
it.
what do you want me to roll? Actually,
that's sad.
to be fair,
Just
I was
roll.
the original Predator
Roll.
experiment.
That's fair.
Huh?
Roll.
Oh, what?
Your dice.
Electronics.
Anything.
You have
Roll
three-
anything.
Oh,
17.
Okay. So there's only a handful more kind of in the armory of the ship. And you definitely make your way inside its sort of series of databases, and it takes you a second, but you are able to rewrite its functions so that it's assuming somebody is inside. So you are mimicking with code a body inside the suit while maintaining all of the suit's properties. So you are successful. It doesn't have a face though. It's probably weird for someone to look.
Yeah, it looks it's like the
Weirder
Invisible
than
Man.
the rest of the stuff that's happening.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
to
a fair point.
To be fair, we were hanging out with the rake for a bit, so.
And your
Yes.
dead
He
wife's alive.
planted a bomb on the moon.
Does he actually have the?
Wait, did I actually plant a bomb?
You did
he
not.
did.
No.
did.
It didn't
No, I
happen.
thought we did.
No.
Yes, he definitely
No, it
did.
did.
No.
He rigged something.
We
Yeah.
did something
That's-
on the moon.
Dude, it's definitely a last.
We
ditch
yeah we
resort.
we
Ian,
it's like the
Comment
last.
below.
Jim,
Did we
gotta
leave a
suck it
bomb
up,
on the
bro.
moon?
He's
Okay.
like
Yeah, there's a
don't-
remote detonator.
Wait, hold on. I don't think that happened. I want it to happen, but I don't remember that
We'll
happening.
have to.
pretty
We'll have to
I'm
look
pretty
back.
sure
in
it
But
time.
keep in mind, I'm also an idiot, so.
I just
Fair
know that
enough.
it was an awful idea, and I'm 95% you succeeded, and I didn't want you to succeed. And so I'm pretty. Hank has
I'm-
just been like
yeah.
You just dropped
watching
the-
Okay.
your hands.
I
Oh, do it.
vaguely
Do it, I swear.
remember.
Because that's where we got
Kind
13.
of.
I'm pretty sure it happened, and he has the remote detonator.
All right, I'm gonna give it to you. A, to make up for my sass about Isaiah, about the quip with the suit. I'll give you that for my sass. Number 2, you probably already did it, and therefore had already earned it in the past anyway. Sound good?
All right.
So
what's
I
Don't
have
drop that.
So
I have a
unrelated to the
trigger.
moon, guys, what we doing right now?
Right. All right.
So,
So,
we have, so we have
ground
subterfuge
team.
team.
I
on the bottom floor?
don't think I'll be. Wait, I have subterfuge with the top.
There's people going on the bottom floor, just walking into the trap if it's
Right.
gonna be a trap.
I think
and
I'm-
then there's people up top.
why does everyone
probably-
assume everything's a trap? Can't it
I'm
just be like a
probably-
welcoming committee?
Yeah.
There's tea and
This
refreshments.
very pretty
I'm
prison.
probably gonna go with the welcoming committee.
because we,
Prove us wrong.
okay, because
Yeah.
we showed up and robots started shooting
I
at
was
No,
us.
also
matter
going
of fact,
to
they
welcoming
definitely
committee
did
for my
not.
project
You are
back.
not under fire whatsoever.
No, I'm saying
We
when
showed
we
up to-
first showed up to
Yeah.
Mars, they started
Oh.
shooting at us.
Well, they.
So I think
That
it is a
welcoming committee.
So I think it's a fair assumption to expect that.
To be fair, we warped into their atmosphere.
Okay. No.
From his experience, actually, he felt what they felt when you entered. But in any event, please,
So,
I beg you
These
to
three
answer
on
the
the bottom
question.
floor.
Oh my
subterfuge
God.
team.
You three?
These three on up top team.
Incorrect.
No.
I'm staying on the ship.
Subterfuge team is.
Well, on the
on
ship
top.
is up top team.
Okay, great, but like I'm not going in the top.
I'm
So-
going in,
yeah.
Chief.
Correct.
No, you're not.
I'm
No,
not.
you're not.
Okay.
You're
No, no.
broken.
The
You're
two
a
of us-
broken man.
So you three are on.
Can
a
you
ship,
heal
and then-
him now? Can you touch Arnold so he
Oh my god,
has
I'm just gonna say
fine
nothing
again?
and just walk up behind him and with my cold little hands touch the back of his neck.
My hair! It's back!
His battery pack just falls off,
We
explodes.
lose 30 pounds.
You actually removed the curse on him that hag left 80 years ago.
He also
He's now
yeah.
beautiful.
He actually has
Alright.
six pack.
flowing
He's like back. You know, he's fit. He's no
he's-
longer.
yeah, I don't
All of a
risk
sudden,
for
he
heart
becomes
failure.
Wait,
Fabio.
hold on. Everybody stop. Ian, what happens?
I was just envisioning what I should answer with that, and that's not possible. So, you definitely are no longer paralyzed. In terms of whether you would alter physical form, while I will say that is within her power's jurisdiction, you objectively don't want to change your body.
Or
And
do
thus-
you?
Oh no, he has
Well,
a wife again.
I do on my own merits. Although, one thing,
Yeah,
may
right.
may I give one change?
Go ahead.
Long, flowing locks.
Yeah, his
And
hair grows.
just to be
It's-
clear,
So like 80s rock star
It's-
hair.
Yeah.
Glory.
I
Wait, are
don't
you still gonna
think
have
you
the
want to kill
mustache?
your
Of course
wife
I'm
with
still
your
going to have the
blubber.
mustache.
Chris, you already drew the art.
Okay.
You're
No,
bald.
no, that's fine. That
No.
was pre-heal.
No.
It's pre-heal.
I need
You
to.
left space.
Where's
Long.
my,
I don't. You know what?
where's my
Blowing.
stuff?
What do you think happens?
Poor
Or- well,
Ian.
I mean,
Ian's just
here's the
like,
thing.
"Shut
If
up,
I were a
everybody."
doctor looking at, how old are you, by the way?
60-ish.
Because they're not losing age. No one is de-aging. They're staying the same age. They're just at peak health for that age, assuming that's the case. Unless they're like at the point where their age is going to be a detriment to their life force.
I would say it's
Okay, so-
closer to a fountain of youth power. It is fairly comprehensive.
So maybe I drop you down to like 40.
Now, again, a lot of this
Like your wife.
involves consent. My interpretation of Arnold's character as a human being is that he wants to live a natural life. And when he knows what's happening, my opinion, no, it's not my character, my opinion based on my observations of your character is that he wouldn't necessarily allow that. But if I am wrong,
I
please
think
of
you
course
want to
you
make love to your
He
wife
He wants to
again.
meet
That'd
his
be
wife's
huge.
age
So
point, right?
so let me put this out there.
Mhm.
Okay, he is a little like sad that like he's a little self-conscious that his wife sees him as like older, but like after talking to her a bit, he realizes like she doesn't care,
That's her thing, actually.
but she's into it.
Especially the blood.
But like maybe he loses a few pounds. Like he's not.
He's got a dad bod now.
Yeah,
as
he's got like a
opposed
dad
to...
bod. He's got like a Mexican wrestler bod.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
he eats well, but he's kind of fit now.
Right, and now instead of 65, he's like 40.
And now being good at knife fighting makes more sense.
Finally, it comes full circle.
Okay.
You look like Luke's dad.
No, he looked like that before.
Yeah, I would say he just like loses about 20 years.
Now, like when he rolls up his sleeves, it's
but
much
doesn't.
more
He's not like a
impressive.
25-year-old.
He looks like
I
he looks like
certainly
an,
understand.
He looks like a 19
below and the 3 on the ship.
He looks like a 1920s boxer.
Nice. Okay, nice.
Here's what we're gonna do. In order, the folks going in the main entrance are gonna go second.
Okay.
We're gonna drop you off because we want the other people to go up above first, right?
I thought that was going to be our backup plan.
Well,
I
we are
do.
going to drop you off, then we're going to raise up.
Yeah.
We're
We're
going to
just gonna
wait
jump
for
out of
you
the
guys
ship.
to go in.
Yeah.
But we need a like a something to tell us it's not working. Backup plan. Like how are you
Flare
signaling
guns.
us?
Is there flare guns?
Calm.
Okay.
You say
guys.
Predators.
armadillo into the comms.
How about this?
Safe word.
We're gonna walk in. We're gonna see what happens.
Okay.
Just to progress this a little bit. So you're going in. You're going in.
Yeah.
Who else?
Nora.
Remember,
Legs?
our.
No,
the
no, I'm not
Predators
going anywhere.
invisibility?
Wait, I thought you were.
I don't know what I'm doing
You're
anymore.
you're going to be at the top with us if you're the
Right, you
backup
said you were gonna
plan
be on
and
the
you're
top.
gonna
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll be on
Open-
top then.
right.
You're always
Okay.
on top.
Nice. Those 3 are going in.
I know, it's what you've always wanted to hear.
All right.
I'm going to be in stealth.
Nice. Nice.
All right.
Just as an FYI.
You guys land, and the scale as Rana pulls you guys into place, the scale of the pyramid is in stark juxtaposition to your admittedly fairly large ship. This pyramid is a massive structure, right?
It's
The
a pretty
size
great
of
pyramid.
The actual pyramids?
Yeah, I mean it's probably similar actually in scale. Obviously, it looks different. There's no ridges. It's
Yeah,
almost
but-
like
yeah.
a prism shape, right? So as you pull up, like you're like this compared to I don't know, like that entire table. Like it's huge.
Yes.
In any event, all of you in stealth, although Legs not necessarily like a stealthy boy.
I'm in the front, by the way.
I'm a stealthy boy.
Yeah.
The door opens for you automatically, sort of responding to your signatures, and you enter the pyramid, and its magnificent prism. There is a figure standing at its center, whom you recognize as Tane, your former crewmate. And what do you want to do?
Well, I don't necessarily want to break stealth. Although, I'm assuming because I can't talk and still be in stealth, right?
You could.
You could.
I think you did that.
He's just going to be able to target you easier if he's going to attack you, which is unlikely, but
I'm going to loop around him and come up from behind.
okay.
The empty
And you stay in
predator.
stealth. I'm gonna just try and talk to him.
What are you going to say?
Yeah. Honestly, Dane, glad you got out of that tower. We wanted to
Ow.
come back and try and check on you, but we were under a lot of stress.
All right.
Thought you were dead.
I saved
No, I didn't say
his
that.
role from last time, which was to see what the impact of the blossoming effect was.
And what was the roll?
Find out.
Oh,
I'm
you
waiting
saved
for
him,
any
sorry.
sort of.
What'd you
Oh,
get?
word?
Oh.
So is that good for us or bad for us?
We're gonna find out.
Maybe it's good because
Next time on.
Tanya.
It's
So-
an alter ego.
He is. You can tell when he speaks that he is fighting with every last ounce of his being, and he says, "It's wonderful to see you again, but you shouldn't have come."
I know, but we had to try and save you however we could. And we knew you were here.
He's like vibrating as if he's like with. It's almost like his every last ounce of his discipline is trying to keep him who he is, right? And he says, and that basically that's why I love you. Like I appreciate the help.
in that moment, in his, I appreciate, can I send like a quiet, like, I know it's not like telepathic, but like send to Marcus, like, okay, put the predator suit on him. And at the same time, I will try and use my potential to break down his shields that are inhibiting him, that whatever he's fighting against, using my potential to counter that while Marcus tries to put the predator suit on.
Sure.
Capture.
Unless you're taking action, Marcus, go ahead. This is a combat roll.
Yeah, because he's not
Do some
consenting.
combat, and then I'll do some potential. And
He rolled an 11, by the way. Extraordinary.
Good for him.
Damn. Tanya.
Tanya.
No, he's not Tanya yet because he hasn't turned.
Yes, yeah, but
That's
his evil
alter ego.
version is Tanya. Can we make it that way?
I wouldn't
I
describe.
am Tanya now.
I wouldn't describe the other side as evil.
I feel like that would be like a drag
Too
queen
calm.
version.
All right, 16.
And the goal is to envelop him
Oh.
and force his movements
Capture.
physically.
Mhm.
And
Oh, yeah,
then
too.
yours.
I'm trying to drop the influence that's trying to make him fight back.
All right, then you're just gonna roll more of like an intuition, and I'll let you add your neural network because you're marrying your connection with that, with the firewall, and you're super close to the iris.
Okay. It's an 11 plus 6. That's a 6 plus 6, so I'll take the 17.
Okay.
Do it.
So the way that I see it is that remember how I said when you first went to the firewall, the way that your brain kind of extrapolated out, it was that imagery of the wildflowers, because that's kind of what they wanted you to see to a certain extent. Instead, you try to go into Tane's mind, and instead, he is in the redwood forest in what we know as of California, standing amongst the trees. And as you know, as a children of Earth, he's very high up in that spiritual organization of people that want to protect and worship the Earth. And he's standing among them, but it's almost like he can't move. But by virtue of being there, he can't be taken away. So in order to help him, you're going to have to work with him in that state. It's more of a how are you approaching this from a social interaction standpoint, not from a role. That'll determine the outcome.
Okay.
But you got there successfully.
Then, in my mind, the wolf can, well, actually, is Tane human?
Yeah, we
Okay,
are.
so the wolf can't, control him. He's being controlled by the flowers.
It's more like that he is resisting the blossom's effect with every last ounce of his might, because he fears that it will turn him against what he loves most, that being Earth. So even though that's not objectively true, it's kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's basically like, think about you're in the middle of the ocean having to tread water for days at a time. Like, he's exhausted, but he is, with that 11, holding his ground. He hasn't been fully taken yet. But it's inevitable.
And we can't just go pick him up in a boat. We have to figure out how to keep him alive out in the ocean.
Where's his
Right.
hat?
So
That's a serious question. That's
no,
not
and I appreciate the question. So he's not wearing the clothes that he was wearing last you saw him. He's certainly not wearing the Juggernaut suit, which is what Cetas had built for him.
Is you know what? I'm still on the top team, right? Still on the ship.
Yes.
I'm gonna go into his room, and I'm gonna collect he was part of that not religious group, but that
Yeah.
spiritual group.
Yeah, I mean, technically they are organized, but they wouldn't classify themselves as a religion.
There are articles of not faith, but like icons of their spirituality.
Absolutely.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna collect some of those,
Okay.
and I'm going to ask the ship to drop me down to them and bring them to Tane.
Okay.
Is
Do
that-
you
is
have any in mind?
A spare hat of his.
Okay.
The
leaf hat?
Do they have a necklace of the leaf too, or
So
was it just
leaf,
the hat?
leaf is a rank. So a leaf on the wind is a rank in the Children of Earth.
So what was their symbol, if they had like a necklace or something?
So you remember how we talked about initially how there was the planet, but the tree growing out of it, because it's kind of a long story, but basically just the short version of it, whenever a human being interacts with the interface of Earth, what we picture Earth in our mind to be is what you see on the interface. So it's not necessarily a tree, but the majority of people conjure tree imagery. So that became their symbology. So the necks are basically the roots of a tree around the planet with the tree growing off of it. So that's what they took as their symbology, their iconography.
So I'm going to grab something that has that icon, like a medallion or something,
Okay.
and bring that and his hat.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a non-combat action. Since I've enveloped him successfully with the Predator suit, can I detect...
Give him a massage.
Kinda.
Vibrates.
Can I detect, as I am literally the Predator suit, and it can run like vital signs and stuff, can I detect what chemical, what substance that flower actually, if it's legitimately tangible, can I do that?
Yep, you can download its chemistry into your
I would
database.
like to try to do that.
All right, I will let you roll for that in terms of finalizing Arnold's.
You know what? Send it to Nora.
That's what
She'll
I was going to do.
she'll get a bonus and she'll be able to.
That's what I was going to do.
Okay, so absolutely, you can get those, some of his artifacts, and obviously you can work with Rana to get you there, and you can walk in.
Unless they're bringing him directly to the ship because he's already.
Well, no, because this will take time.
Okay.
What's happening in there? So we're gonna say while you were finding your way into his consciousness, we'll say that this happened because it was related to what was occurring inside. However, around his body, that is, and you are able to download the chemistry of the Tranquility Blossom.
Okay, I would.
Or at least you have to roll for it, but I assume,
What would you like me to roll?
This is still electronics. It's not combat anymore. Even though it's using your suit.
6 and a 5.
So 17.
You're able to get the chemistry, but similar to a famous movie involving dinosaurs, there are some gaps in the ultimate chemistry.
I will send that data directly to Nora's
Understood.
electronic device on her body, and obviously to Hank's.
Okay.
And I will communicate with them. We need an antidote, ASAP.
Okay.
And a pig.
Use frog DNA.
And a pig.
Ooh.
Sure, and a pig. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So while you're inside, from the outside, Arnold approaches you within the pyramid with the artifacts. What are you intending to do with those artifacts?
Well, I'm gonna kind of I'm going to give them to him, and hopefully there's some sort of resonance.
Him being Legs or Tane?
Tane.
Okay.
Because maybe
He
there's
won't be able to hold it. He's pretty much like mummified with the suit right now. But
I'm gonna give them to him to kind of hold on to them.
Okay.
So just maybe their presence might offer some comfort or anything.
Okay.
But that's about it.
I think what I'll do is, by virtue of having brought things that reminds him, I will give him a bonus to holding out longer during their sequence.
Okay.
So the hourglass is more full than it otherwise would have been.
Would
Fair?
I be able to use my shield technology to help augment that in any way, or is the shield thing more so of a physical?
It conforms to the known
Yeah.
laws of physics, so it wouldn't help somebody's mental state.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, but it's a good idea.
Question.
Yes.
Oh no.
Because right now I'm not doing anything. Do you think the pig could connect to the firewall?
Do I think that
Dramatic.
pig? I think pig would have to be aware of its own existence.
Oh, it's sentient.
Pig is sentient.
I mean, that's the question. That is, and I mean, I guess that's really up to you because we are seeing a lot of spectrum of sentience here.
And if I built it, it was built with AI.
Right.
You did put the neural network. I would say that you can roll to see whether it's becoming aware of its own existence or whether it's still just a tool.
We give pig fists.
It
And
was
what
built with my mom's
Oink.
what kind of roll is this?
Straight up.
All right. Doing the 2 pink ones for pig. 8.
Lots of justification
I,
of a 2.
I certainly don't fault you for trying. I would say that there is a flicker inside Pig's inner being that it never felt before, that is objectively autonomous, right? Whether it gets full awareness in an instant, no. However, it is most definitely on that road, and the more actions that you take from here on out with it will shape what that existence looks like. Okay?
Okay.
Back to Legs so that we can see what happens.
So yes.
You have to. You now have a conversation, which can be longer and potentially more effective based on what Arnold has done. So, what are you going to say, and what are you going to do in the Redwood Forest?
If we're in the Redwood Forest, I can like. Can I create like a picture for him to like create a scene?
Yep.
So I'm gonna create like we're in the Redwood Forest. You see the water. We go into the water, like both of our consciousness, perspective, whatever, goes into the water, and you see a little fish.
Okay.
And that little fish is swims down, and then eventually swims down to like complete darkness, and then sees a light at the bottom of the darkness. And so the fish, trying to implicate of its own free will, swims toward that light, and once it gets close enough, realize it's an anglerfish. Using its own free will, even though it in turn will end its own life.
That's the circle of life.
Trying to knowing that Tane is of nature and relates to things like having to be balanced, and trying to instill in him and remind him that even though free will can be detrimental, that it is not. It's still something that's imperative and human nature. And could be, beyond human. It could be Martian nature. It could be, we just haven't had that ability yet.
It's the true
to
source of
transcribe it
sentience.
to a mechanical being as opposed to an organic.
Okay. I would like you to roll intuition, and I would like you to add. I suppose neural network is the closest.
Can I help with this roll?
You're making this role possible by keeping him physically there.
Gotcha.
Can I help with the roll?
How?
Oh.
You
You're
give me a
still
good
stealth.
way how to do it, and I will listen. Else, no.
Your predator suit connects with his predator suit.
Yeah, like
Form
I
a
have,
double predator.
Predator 2.0.
and I have like electronics.
I know you do.
Yeah.
And UI mastery.
Predator
Yeah.
Suit
So
2,
you'd be
Electric
helping me
Boogaloo.
paint the picture.
Like,
True,
can I
you
like
could up-
boost it in
Make
some
the
way?
link go faster. something
Make it
like that.
4K as opposed to 1080p.
Jesus.
That's intense. What kind of
Okay.
speakers you
All
got
right,
there?
all right. I'll give you a little something.
Okay.
How about that?
You're the best. You know that? Alright,
These are hard rolls. Just saying.
An 11 plus 6? Or 6 plus 6? I think that was the same roll.
That
last
was
time.
it was the same.
17.
What's with the trash rolls, bro?
And intuition, so I only get 2 rolls. So 17. And I don't have a chip, so we have a safe on.
Wow.
So you are able to guide him on this journey, but it is not an automatic success. He's there with you every step of the way. He trusts you. In many ways, you're his brother. And similar to how Nora is deeply protective of nature, he understands the cycle that you're trying to represent to help him out. To what degree he's successful,
Is that his intuition roll? Because he's a gangster and he's proud of it.
The suspense is killing me.
A serendipitous mistake happens. He fails what you intended, but as the anglerfish, like the little light that you're intending, that image is about to envelop him, it does, but it doesn't break the connection. If anything, it makes it stronger. However, in that moment of clarity, he accidentally accesses the firewall. And by doing so, he becomes not immune to the wolf's chemical influence, but he gets to declare his intent to the firewall, which is
World domination. I knew it.
Yeah, that's very Tanya. Like.
I would say that
Patients and therapists.
I would say that he is, more than anything, he would give his life to protect Earth and what Earth has come to represent. So if he's going to be a protector, he would have to roll intuition again to see if what the wolf's philosophy is and whether that meshes it. So he now has to decide that for himself. Yikes. You rolled a 12.
The 2 black die. Roll
Yep.
again.
Keep going. 6.
6, 6, and a 1.
In one fell swoop, he almost blows the predator suit clean off, and you have to use all of your energy to like keep him in there. But the chemical essence that was within the root of his brain has been annihilated, and he is back to himself.
Baller.
Can I?
You did it.
Does the literal chemical like come out of his body?
No, it basically is erased from existence.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So there was no way for me to capture more of that.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
no. It's a good idea, but no.
Okay.
Good idea.
And he is.
While we had it.
His energy levels sort of drop, and he's almost out of breath because of the experience that he just went through. But he expresses his deep appreciation for saving his life and coming all this way. But he comes back and he says, like he almost has a panic attack in real time. But like as he's talking, a figure materializes behind him,
Oh, of course.
and describing this is difficult, but I'll do my best. Especially for Arnold, roll a history roll, because I think this is going to guide how other people see this.
It's really bad.
Do you want me to say it?
It's a 3.
Wow.
Wait, no, it's not.
Plus,
he got 2 nat 1s together in one roll.
Oh, so that.
That's
Wait,
a
it's
thing.
4 ones?
Second roll.
No, it's
It was a 1, a 2, and a 1 and a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 2 rolls.
And then it's a 3.
3.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, he rolled
So
2 1s.
remember how like the
only
rule
the-
with 12s, it's
Oh,
only the
first
first one that
Okay.
matters.
Okay.
The
Okay.
second one doesn't if you're a master. So it's the first one. So if your first one was a 1 and a 2, it's a 3.
So it's 3
Okay.
plus 6.
Cool.
I apologize, Chris. I just wanted to
All
be
right.
fair.
So everything's okay then, right?
I mean,
You still rolled a 3.
you're completely
know.
overwhelmed, but what this figure is, it is almost what you would envision like what the Greeks would have envisioned a god in physical form to look like, manifests itself out of this mass of energy.
Brad Pitt.
And each of you see different things by virtue of what this person is, but instantly you know that it is Cetas, who now has his own true physical form.
Yay, maybe.
And
Sort of.
Oh, Neptune.
And am I detecting any of that chemical in him? Perchance?
Is rage a chemical?
No, the
He's mechanical and doesn't necessarily need the chemical if the wolf can take over him.
so
that's a shame.
The
What's
chemical is for
Cetas,
What do I got form?
think of, zoom out, you have the pyramid. Cetas takes, so think about Cetas. Think about what he actually wanted. So Cetas wants no power. What Cetas wants is to know, to be curious. But what does the wolf want? The wolf wants to control. So if the wolf is in control of the person who knows everything about the firewall, it is what it is. So basically, Cetas is the master of what the firewall is. And Cetas, whether he is probably not under his own control, he takes the pyramid and he takes the ship from outside and puts it inside the pyramid.
Our ship?
What?
Yeah, he takes the Kaizen
It's good.
and just puts it inside.
Like teleports it almost?
So
He
Cetas.
takes it, I'm sorry,
Would it fit?
Oh,
this
apparently.
pyramid is
It's big.
hundreds
size
of
of
times,
stadium.
if not thousands of times larger than the Kaizen.
So it would fit through the doorway easily, is what you're
Yeah.
saying?
No, he like literally just takes it out of reality outside
Okay.
and puts it inside.
Yeah, teleports it. Right.
So Cetas values knowledge and not Lamborghinis.
Yes,
I hope someone gets that.
I do not, but that is true about him.
Okay.
If Cetas is still under the wolf's command, and now
It's my Lamborghini.
you're probably, maybe you're putting 2 and 2 together about how this is all working. But this place is now effectively sealed. He has sealed you inside.
Arf, arf.
And he says to all of you that he never has and never will wish any of you any ill will.
But you're going to try and kill us, aren't you?
No.
I am going to try and keep you here
Forever?
until
Until we
the
take
mission
off.
has been carried out.
Why?
to prevent us from.
No,
burning
why? What's changed? That was not your fundamental belief before to let this happen.
So
I just want to see what he has to say.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Roll an intuition roll.
Intuit.
All right, so 10 plus. What would I add to this? Could I add? It's not negotiating. Just lie.
I'll give you some of negotiating because you're trying to get details in a conversation.
Okay.
Right? In this case,
Or lie detector, I suppose, too.
they're about one in the hand, about half bonus.
All right.
In any event, it's not a hard roll because the Cetos that you know before, while they had never inhabited the same body, they always had the same affect on their face, the same personality. When this being, who admittedly is Cetos, is talking, it's not talking like Cetos talks. It's not moving like Cetos moved.
So let me ask you this, and you can answer or you don't have to. What is more powerful, Cetos' need for knowledge or the wolf's control?
That is a fantastic question, and that is to be determined.
Okay, so I'm going to say that in character. And I'm not expecting him to answer, but I'm going to say, you are being of curiosity. You need to know. You need to know everything. You need to know what happens. Don't you want to know what happens if we succeed?
Don't you want to know why you're being controlled, man? Come on.
Persuade, and then I have to roll an opposing for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Six. 16.
Do it.
He beat you by 1.
Oh,
However,
Because they don't have a coin.
they can't do it on your
No.
Can't
behalf.
chip
I
you.
keep thinking.
Damn.
I keep thinking other rules for the games.
No, that's totally fine. However, what I will say is you do notice a weakness in what he says to you. You are able to, with what they, I'll tell you what you figure out from what they say, then I'll tell you what they say. You're able to figure out that obviously, while this being is immensely powerful, many degrees past where even all of you are, it is not, objectively not Cetos who is making the decisions behind its actions. Meaning the wolf is somehow controlling Cetos' control of the firewall. Which is highly unfortunate and a rather brilliant plan to...
So the wolf can see us through his eyes, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That is, yeah.
So the wolf is hiding like a sheep then.
I have a question.
Yes. And actually, if you say things like that...
I am saying things like that. Ma!
The wolf...
I'm gonna have. We'll have him
All right,
project.
Hold on.
One-on-one fight. Knifeman versus the wolf.
Whether you believe it or not, I never have wanted to cause you any pain.
Is this
Or
the wolf
anyone.
talking or is this
Yeah, it's the wolf as Cetos talking to you. I never have wanted to cause you any pain, even if the same cannot be said in return. I will do anything to accomplish what it is I am meant to set out to do. I know it in my heart to be the right thing. Your even, benevolent selfishness will be the undoing of us all in the long run. And I am sorry I must be forced to keep you here.
You don't offer a future, you offer stagnancy and slavery. Let us out.
Go ahead and roll.
Nope. I think I hear you.
Do it.
Should have kept it.
So I drop the wolf's inhibitions.
7 plus.
Everyone can try something because you have to, or you
that's
literally
a-
will not be able
that
to
is-
leave.
I have a
One
question.
second. I got you.
That is a 13. Damn.
Shrugs you off. Perhaps. But what is on the other side of that coin is worth far, far more than the so-called stagnancy. I offer the opportunity to live free from our own mistakes.
You're going to use the word freedom for what you're going to do. You offer a lobotomy species-wise.
Fair enough. He's not going to listen to a word you have to say.
um,
So let's just do this in the right order.
Sure.
Are
So
we
I'd
gonna
love to
roll?
hear your ideas, and that's fine. We'll talk about what order they should be done. So let's just start from left to right, and let's move around, and then we'll talk about the order after.
I have a question about intent in general.
Okay.
So the general idea is we all have this like overarching intent, and it is how the firewall is interpreting our intent into power that we have, an ability to make change.
That is what you've observed thus far.
Okay. So I think that I would be focusing, Saoirse is going to focus on the idea that if my intent is to eradicate death without the ability to progress, then that would be the death of our species, which is inherently against my intent.
So
They're not trying to kill our species.
But we don't know that.
So you're saying, so you're agreeing with Arnold. So let me just understand the philosophy of your approach. You're saying that if Arnold is right and the Tranquility Blossom will neuter our species' capacity to evolve, that in a way is dying, and therefore would be against the spirit of your power.
I would use the example of myself because you guys know I did cure cancer.
That's true.
The only reason I was able to do that is because without our species going through that apocalyptic history, I would have never been born. Because the way that actual timeline, all of those people had to come together for my singular character to exist and to have the ability to be a super genius in this world. Like without all of that happening, she wouldn't have been able to do that. And without her existing, cancer would have killed and continued to kill millions.
That is on the table.
If we were neutered as a species, lobotomized,
I like the
say a super virus attacks the Earth, we're under no ability to research or test or practice on anything because that's essentially violence. I mean, we can't even test on rats. Like, is that really what we're saying?
I mean, you don't necessarily know what the gray area of what he's suggesting, how far that extends.
Exactly.
That is fair, especially as it has not yet been put into practice. But if you are taking a stance against him, what is it that you intend to do with that?
So I want to use my intent to save the human species from death. In my mind, humans as a species exist through progression.
Lack of free will equals death.
So you want to create a vaccination for the Infinity Blossom.
Right. That it is a virus that you are
idea.
right. If you are going to be
Not the physical vaccine.
releasing this disease on my planet,
It is chemistry.
I want to be able to essentially protect my own species from that harm.
And Saoirse,
Yeah.
your intent, how it interacts with the firewall,
Right.
how it potentially may be opposed to the wolf's ultimate aims. What are you thinking?
So I am thinking that I would say, honestly, Saoirse is 50-50. The logic of her brain is saying that her intent directly opposes the wolf's intent. However, I think that there also is, if I'm being honest, an argument to be had about that.
Okay. So what are you going to do with that? It seems like you're debating yourself, which is fine. People
Yeah.
do that all the time. But what are you going to do with that perception?
I think that I would... Honestly, I probably wouldn't present that argument to anyone just yet. I think I would be internally arguing myself. Do I agree with the ultimate goal or not is my concerns. Because I do think logically, like I was saying before, the human race lives through free will. But
So are you actively thinking about this? at that level?
I think so.
All right, I know what the first part of your action has to be if you're thinking about it. So we're going to do that in a second, but I want
Okay.
everyone to declare. Legs.
My intent of action is to bridge the gap to talk to the wolf, because I know that we have tried to before. He has tried to sway us. We have tried to sway him. I'd like to use my abilities to lower his shields, his barriers, his all the past traumas that he has remembered or has gained access to.
Understood, Marcus?
I would like to also do kind of what Dr. Gallagher is doing here, and my intent is to complete this mission to the best of my ability, and the wolf is stopping me from doing that. I'm stuck in here. So my intent, I think, would be magnified in doing what the following, which is persuading and getting through directly to Cetus by basically saying, if you allow what the wolf is doing, and to you, and the mission is completed according to what the wolf wants, human curiosity will no longer exist. Your wishes and intentions, everything that you've always wanted, will no longer exist.
Okay. Seema?
Asima's torn.
Are you saying that in third person out loud, or?
Yeah. Because
Good character. Asima is torn.
yeah. Well, like I told you about my idea of trying to use the ship to raise the pyramid up out of the city. Realistically, how feasible is that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Because that would be really
Trying to use
powerful.
a jet plane to lift a stadium.
With
Using
all the
magic.
and
Okay,
and
yeah.
also Rana's.
Oh,
it's
right.
Rana's power.
Right.
Power.
Yeah, it's not her power. You can't do that. Rana might? Question mark.
Well, if we're trapped in here and Rana's power was get the team to where they need to be.
Oh.
Right, but how do we do that without? Basically, I want to avoid obviously breaking the pyramid, because this is our concern the entire time is what's going to happen to all the energy if it's suddenly released. So that always has to be part of
But
the.
if we can lift it up and keep it I'm imagining whatever this potential energy. It was a floating pyramid, meaning the potential energy was not going down, or it would have gone outside.
The energy is not keeping the pyramid afloat. The pyramid is floating by conventional means.
Right, but if it was floating and if there was potential energy stored inside, if that energy were dragged toward the ground with the pyramid floating, the potential energy would seep out into the world, which means.
Well, there's a floor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there a floor?
Of course. You're all walking on the floor right now.
Actually,
I thought we were
so
walking on the ground.
even though this
Nope,
pyramid
it has
is
a floor. Sorry.
Okay.
even though this pyramid is like massive, it in theory wouldn't weigh its size
It's
size
empty.
normally.
Because it's hollow. That's
Right.
correct.
Right. So, in theory, if I could go after the propellers or the propulsion system or whatever that's keeping it afloat.
But it's just like there's just like 4 biplane like motors beneath it.
It's
They're just
it's a bunch of
rusty.
dudes
Yeah,
on
it's
bikes.
like Rusty
I was just
fan.
gonna say robots on bikes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, could I go after that? Like, stealth, try and like shut them down, and then that way, that would
On
give
all
us.
corners, this giant
It crashes to
mechanical
the ground.
hamsters.
Because if you cut the motors off, it would crash, assuming you were successful. And there's not motors. It's different, but
It's energy.
it's
Unless
more
you're
it's
trying
more
to-
like a differentiated magnetism.
Unless you're trying to combine the idea with Rana, then
Yeah, so-
floating it up.
That
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
basically on the ground. There are very specific magnets which
I
are
see.
married to the reverse polarity on the bottom of the pyramid to keep
Got it.
the appearance of it floating.
Got it.
So it stays in place off the ground.
Yeah.
So as an indestructible being, you stand and like Colossus lift the pyramid, cut the power, it falls, have Rana lift the pyramid to where it needs to go. Well, actually, we're trapped inside, so you can't go underneath.
I don't think that she has unlimited strength. She would just be crushed, and then she wouldn't die.
Correct.
Yeah, and then I have to.
Yeah,
release
she would-
I think
constant-
we have to
would-
get her out of there.
In
She'd probably
theory, she'd be
respawn
trapped
inside.
she'd be trapped in a cycle of like a Sisyphean cycle of constantly rematerializing herself silently to
While it's getting crushed.
The
Yeah.
beginnings
That's some
sound
kind of
like
help.
So we
this.
could do that.
We could.
Or-
That sounds terrible.
So what's the plan,
Back
Asima?
and
I need
forth,
something from you
back
here.
and forth. Let me get anything shit like.
I mean, is there honestly, is there anything I can do to help from a persuasion perspective? Because
You tell me. I don't know.
We could straight up fight him.
Citas?
He's not really a being to fight, though, is he? Like, is he like a
Andy's being
physical
controlled by-
being that we could attack
Yeah.
and kill? I don't.
He
think
is. He does. Like I said, he has a godlike
his
form,
body.
radiating.
You know,
Power.
Okay,
I think
godlike, but not stab proof.
I think
True.
Those are the words you used.
I would probably be recommending through our comm links the ultimate goal is to free Cetos and have
Yeah.
his free will back. I probably would relay that to the crew. Ultimately, they can choose whether.
I don't want to fight him. So like,
How
what
about
use?
Could you, without any idea or persuasion, see what the
Iris?
iris is?
Yeah, I mean, I can like try and I'm assuming I can fly up there, correct?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Oh yeah, we can use that for something.
All right, so you're gonna go iris hunting.
So
This is for party consensus, and based on the response, I will not do it, or I will totally do it.
Press the button.
Well, you had me. I'm going to threaten the moon.
I mean, you could do that. I
I'm
don't
going
think
to hold
is
out.
Cetos
Dude, it's a
even
great
gonna
last
A little.
resort.
I'm going to hold out a little rectangular cylinder. Although, is that? Those are two different words.
Yep, those are not the same.
Wow. A little rectangular package.
In this
called
world,
prism.
anything's
Yeah,
possible.
anything.
It's crazy.
We're gods, man.
Harold pulls out a rectangular cylinder.
like be amazed, and he's distracted.
Depending what
Everyone
angle
is-
you look at it, it's either
Hey,
circle
you
or
made your dead wife. You can have a
You
rectangular.
know what? Fair.
I'm listening.
I'm pulling that out, and I'm going to based on consensus, I'm going to say let us out, or we'll blow up Phobos, and all those big moon chunks are going to hit the city, and they're going to hit the Leviathans.
Okay.
Wouldn't all Mars be destroyed?
Fundamentally alter the gravity of the planet forever.
I don't care.
Hank,
Fair enough.
That is
Hank would pipe up and say
Interesting.
that doing that is exactly
proving them 100%
proving their
correct.
point.
Okay,
Hank would use that
but
as-
hear me out on this one.
Yeah.
It would also make them dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Hold on. Ready? The reason why I'm having you declare what you're doing is because the way that time is going to proceed from this turn, it's all going to happen concurrently because of what Cetos' ability is. So you're actually all taking your turns at the same time. That's why you have to declare your intent first,
Interesting.
rather than going sequentially, because that'll imply that that's happening one after another when that is incorrect. Nora.
Can I focus my power and my intent on something outside of the prism, the pyramid?
You can attempt to do that. What are you attempting to focus on?
I want to attempt to focus on the Earth. Not the planet, sorry, like the substance of terrain underneath us.
Got it?
Yeah, I was thinking.
So the Mars.
Yeah, the Mars.
Mars.
I want to think of
Why did we
Mars.
name our planet dirt?
Well, why did we make dirt synonymous? But that's beside the point. I want to see if I can open up some sort of crater
She's got a lot to say.
Okay.
under the Leviathans. Because I can control elements. And if I can't do that, then I'm going to start doing something else.
Lightning.
But that's going to be my first thing, is I'm going to attempt to either open up the land underneath, or I'm going to create one heck of a hailstorm.
Fair enough. You've all declared your intent.
Yeet.
Now, everyone roll 2d6 only, and we're going to do the order. But again, this all happens simultaneously.
I'm gonna make one heck of a hailstorm too.
Yeah, just do 2d. Borrow someone
Made
else's.
out of a
or-
planet.
Made out of Phobos.
All right, what do you got?
9.
9.
Really?
8.
8.
9.
Wow.
Oh
my god.
Okay.
The word delicious comes to mind.
Okay, who rolled a 9 again? You really? Okay, you 3 roll again.
That's literally that's top team and bottom team.
That's so bizarre.
Moon. Ooh,
5.
4.
6.
Okay.
Ooh. Wait. So what's our order actually?
4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
That's
Or
so funny.
6, 5, 4.
Start.
And Arnold. Okay, and then 8.
I wanted to do my thing before we blew up the moon.
Sucks us
No.
up.
9.
We're not going to blow up the moon.
All of this
10.
is going to
No,
happen
sorry, 8.
simultaneously.
8.
Wow.
All right, we have to re
Just one.
1. But okay, what 4.
6. And we can do 2. I just.
Oh, I thought you were doing the D20.
Oh.
Sorry.
That would be fair.
Like I'm.
You roll
So
a
it
D6.
goes-
You should be rolling 2d6s, so just roll a second
did.
dice.
Okay,
So 6
so-
and a...
6 and a 1. You get a 4 and a
A total of 7.
total of 7.
I
That's
hate...
why.
Do it again! Go, 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 go!
2 and a 2. 4.
6.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my god.
That was amazing, but not at all.
Poor Ian's gonna lose it.
Saoirse.
Last.
Blowing.
Okay, so here's how your turn's gonna
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
You are battling...
Existential crisis.
Right. And the wolf is able to, via CTOS, manifest itself in your mind. And he says, I admit that I am as biased as I can get, but this is how I think of the two sides of what you're debating. And on the one hand, he does acknowledge that human beings, when they experience suffering and pain, do have a tendency to evolve. He says, when the Colossus sent that probe into the ship, remember how we fought the hand of the Colossus? It wasn't an intentional boarding party. It was an information extraction tool. So he downloaded the Kaizen's database. Using that information, he did find out what Earth has become. And he candidly admits to you, it is incredibly impressive, but still, it is no guarantee of what the future will hold. The only guarantee to not repeat the constant cycles of suffering and agony are to solder away that potential in the psyche of our brains. And the Tranquility Blossom does that.
So, if that's the case, let's, for example, a super virus attacks our organic matter. In my experience, medicine requires that we will do intense, what could be argued as violent testing on other organic forms to provide what would be a fix. How would we go about saving the Earth?
His response, as honestly non-medical as it can be, would be that we have evolved past causing pain to others, and we would find a way to eliminate the threat to our species without causing harm.
And if we cannot?
I have such faith in our species that I do not believe we would fail.
Yet you do not have faith in our species to allow for our species to continue to grow without intense violence that we had in the past.
That's correct.
And how is it possible that you can argue that to me? That you can tell me that you have intense belief that we would find that cure, but you do not have intense belief that we could continue on without intense violence?
Well, I have seen firsthand how our brilliance and creativity extrapolates itself in your society as well as mine. The human spirit is in many ways indomitable, but it is fatally flawed. And what I am proposing, in my opinion, is less the neutering or lobotomizing that your colleague claims, and more of a evolution in the right direction, evolving past our elementary animalistic tendencies to become a better version of ourselves.
Have you taken this drug?
Whoa.
That's wicked interesting.
This is very interesting. Like it.
Have you taken this drug? I like that very much.
Nothing is more fun to me.
Manipulated by someone.
Have you
Then
taken this drug?
argument.
Well, you might be eligible for compensation.
Have you taken this drug?
Side effects may include
This is your
Because if
wanting
he,
to
my
eliminate
argument
people's free
here,
will.
Yes.
if the wolf feels as sure as he is telling me right now, and in the most academic position I can take, if you feel that way, then you would be fine taking that drug right now.
He replies, I would agree with you with one huge caveat. I have not taken the drug because I am about to commit violence. And if I took the drug, I would not be able to forcibly spread it over the planet.
You're right. And doesn't that stand in great opposition to what you're telling me right at this moment?
It does not.
Why?
Because I must complete the mission to make that evolution possible, and that will require some degree of violence. But as it is acceptable within the boundaries of the argument, it must occur. However, if it makes you feel better, you have my word that once that mission is successful, I will ingest it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Your original claim was that humans were a violent species.
So that's my argument. So I am saying...
Okay, I mean, you don't have to believe him. I'm just telling you what he says.
I'm ready to fight this guy right now.
I'm ready to hit him with a
honestly, I
boom.
think he's being controlled by some other
I
entity.
am fighting this guy right now, just mentally.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the argument is saying I'm arguing with myself as much as I am arguing with the wolf. So if you're saying that your ultimate fear is the atrocities that have been committed by humans in general in the past.
To each other, to nature.
In general, it's the human condition, yes. Why is it that you fundamentally can resolve the fact that you're going to commit an intense atrocity?
I do not believe I'm committing an atrocity. I believe I am allowing our species to evolve past our animalistic tendencies. I do acknowledge that there will be many who will reject this argument and will not allow the administration of this drug.
That's what the Nazis said.
Yeah.
So
I
he's
was
using the word allow a lot, but
I
he's
was
not
gonna say.
allowing anything. It's a forcible.
Yeah.
So fundamentally,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
argument is flawed. If we are talking from an academic standpoint, what you are saying is you are putting the lives of the people who agree with you above the ones who disagree. And that fundamentally goes against what you're saying to me. Because you're saying that all should be on this equal standing of anti-violence, yet you are accepting the fact that some wholly innocent beings otherwise, people who, I mean, in my past would have cured diseases and saved the planet and saved species, those people are not going to agree with you and they're going to die. And those minds could intensely affect our future as a species.
They won't die. They will lose their capacity to commit violence. You're not in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is his honest opinion.
Right. I mean, we're at
I'm confused. I
an
thought they were
impasse.
The Leviathans were going to kill people. In
They-
addition to...
Will defend themselves while they're forcibly administered. While they're forcibly
While they're-
administered.
While they're
He's a Nazi, dude.
While they're
Oh,
goose
yeah.
stepping around.
Jews are evil.
Hey,
We got to get
right.
rid of them.
They are all red.
Okay.
So I guess my final argument would be, if you are in total and complete reserve that you are against violence, you do not want people to feel suffering. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's your intent, is it not? To eradicate suffering.
That is mostly a fair characterization of my intent.
Okay. What's your true intent?
My true intent is to remove our capacity to cause suffering from the typical life cycle of what we bring to the table, and to use that to chart a new course in human history.
So if we're going at the very baseline, to remove the ability to cause others suffering.
Correct. And themselves, in theory.
So you should
And
take the
nature.
drug. You are causing me suffering right now.
I admit that what I'm doing will cause a great deal of suffering, but what I remove from the potential in existence in perpetuity, it's a drop in the bucket, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And you have my word, when that's done, I will take it.
It is the true, the argument, the save the one baby or save the 10 old men. The train is going and you have to save them. And you're telling me that you would save the more over the one. You're not going to try and save them both. You would rather accept the suffering that you would cause than try and find an answer that doesn't cause any suffering. Correct.
Because this is a guarantee. Yes.
According, right, but there's a guarantee that you will cause suffering. Don't you think that if you are so sure that this is the right answer, that you could figure out a way? Don't you have enough? Don't you believe in your own abilities enough to think that you could find an answer that wouldn't cause suffering? If you're so sure that humans would be able to be better in the future and not cause suffering and cure something, don't you think that you could come up with a better answer too?
His response to you is
You know what I mean?
his response to you is a vision of what he believes is going to happen. The Colossus as a ship approaches Earth, and the 100 million Leviathans start to spread around the globe, and using the technology that he's invented, disseminate the tranquility blossom over at least 3/4 of the population without them even knowing, which means they can't and won't fight back, in which case there will be no suffering. The next 10%, so going up to, or 20% rather, to go up to 95, there will be some resistance, but it'll be very difficult to stop them in real time. The last 5% will be entrenched, what they will think of themselves as freedom fighters, and it will take quite some time to grind them down and find them all, but eventually they will. So the suffering that he is causing is to a very, very, very small minority of the population in exchange for no suffering forever. So he acknowledges the irony, but says, I am willing to make that deal, and it is the best decision for our species moving forward.
And I will follow up with a vision of one of those freedom fighters. One of the All Reds comes and finds them and like completely decimates these people because they are fighting against them. They would fight before they would take the drug, and those people die. And that man will watch the wife of his child be killed in protection of their baby, and their baby will be drugged against their will.
All right, roll for persuade.
I do have a chip.
I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Go ahead.
9. Lucky number 9.
It causes him a lot of pain to see it. He sees himself in those people,
Right.
being on the opposite side. And his only response to you is, I've seen it. I've seen it many times. And he severs the connection with you. So you can decide how you wish to proceed, but that is your interaction with him. Via CTOS, obviously, in real time.
Right.
All right. Nora. What are you doing? You are attempting to move the earth by reaching outside.
Yeah, can I roll to see if I'm capable of even handling that? Because I don't know exactly the bounds of my new powers, and I'm obviously the one that has the least control over her abilities at the moment because I was the most recent to get them.
Because you are using your firewall abilities in an offensive way, you're going to find out very quickly you can most definitely not extend beyond the reach of the pyramid.
Cool.
In fact, CTOS has a greater degree of control over your powers than you do.
Okay. All right. Then can I just talk to him then and do
To the wolf via CTOS or CTOS himself?
the wolf via CTOS?
Yes.
So you haven't talked to me. You've talked to everyone almost but me. Isn't that weird? I'm the most like your ally. I have the strongest connection to the witch, and yet you refuse to talk to me.
Candidly, I just found out who you were yesterday.
Wow, that's really hurtful. I guess not. Wow.
Kind of walked into that.
I did walk into it, but I loved walking into it.
I'm more than willing to talk to you.
So we meet again.
If
Who are you?
what you
Yeah,
say,
exactly. It was
if
great.
what you
I
say
loved
is
it.
true, and you're more inclined to see the
Her.
right way of doing things, then I'm more than willing to talk to you.
Oh, I never said that. I was just annoyed that you hadn't talked to me. Because I feel I'm the most logical of all of these idiots, and yet... Okay.
I knew who Marcus was. I used Marcus as an intermediary. I knew that Legs' grandfather was my colleague, and so I talked to him.
Do you know who I am?
Space Google me.
Well, he has all the information from the ship.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so he obviously knows who you are. However,
Does he not know who I am?
he does. Do you want me to say it out loud?
No,
Because
not
it'll
yet,
reveal
not
to
yet.
everybody else.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
I don't know.
I do.
I don't.
That's correct.
It's not.
Yes.
Are you her?
So I have, since you know who I am, would you give him the flower as well? Would you give it to him?
Obviously.
Even though to you, he's the one that took everything away from you. He destroyed your world to your mind, and yet you're willing to forgive him? There's no anger in there at all? No rage?
In order to invent the flower, I had to find a way to come to peace with what happened to me personally so that it didn't impact what the mission was. There's nothing more important than the mission.
Yeah, and you wish to destroy all this hate. Not hate, but pain. You want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You wish to gain peace from it.
That will be a natural byproduct of it.
But there's nothing natural about this. There's
Correct.
not a single thing natural about this. And you're asking to release what is fundamentally a virus untested on an entire species with no information based on something that happened years and years ago that you've thrown yourself into. You've put yourself in research to find out how to do this for decades, and yet you're sitting here saying this is the best option for society you know absolutely nothing about. You say you understand us now that you've learned, but you've looked at data files. You've looked at conglomerations of information. No matter how much you can look at using your intellect in our databases, you've never been to Earth. You've never sat on the shores and seen a place that was completely restored to natural working order.
I agree. It doesn't change the logic of
It changes
my perspective.
everything.
How so?
You're asking to create a peace when we've done so. It's just different than yours. Can't you accept it?
I can. It is far more than I ever thought possible. But one thing it is not is a guarantee.
But it's not your planet.
No, but that planet can impact mine and will do so if unchecked forever.
Not if you sever ties. You kept yourself secret
It's not
from
how it
us.
works. You're here. You're not the first. You're not the last.
We were sent here because somebody came and got us. Otherwise, it would have taken even longer for us to show up.
That is still under investigation, man. That was not me.
So
I know, but that's what she says.
I
She's
know.
like, someone came and got us.
Yeah, and he's saying we're looking into that.
Yeah. So apparently you don't have this utopia you thought you had, because obviously there are entities that work against you. So how do you know they're not working against you now? How do you know this will even work for us, for Earth, for our people?
I am not a god. I am a security guard.
Yet you're acting like you're a god. And what gives you that right? This engine, this piece of technology that gives us these immense abilities? That makes you a god now? That gives you sway and say over the species of a completely different planet?
I am not a god. I am a man who took the power that was given to me to make a decision that I feel and will always feel is in the best interest of everybody.
With great power comes great responsibility.
No
And
doubt.
I feel you have just dropped the ball.
Fair enough. Are you going to try and persuade him?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. I don't have persuasion.
1d6 then.
Oh my god.
Roll 6.
Yeah. I built a
Do
character
you
that's
have
not
to-
good
do
at
you roll
talking,
on
but now
sixes?
she's really
Roll
angry.
one dice. You get a
And
six.
Michaela's good at talking. I rolled 2.
good job.
Thanks. Did he
It's
roll
his
high?
worst roll of the whole show so far, but he still rolled far higher than that.
Yeah, it's a 2. So I would.
Um,
You could chip it.
I could. I still have a shield.
Still not gonna do
He
it.
It's
is
a 2.
disappointed that a scientist would not see the logic of his plan. Now, obviously, I understand that to you is flawed, but that is his perspective.
As a scientist, as Michaela, there's no logic to his
There's actually
plan.
there's a
There's
very
logic.
beautiful logic.
There's
it's
a-
just fatally flawed.
It's idealistic.
Ian, would die personally in real life representing the exact opposite of his perspective. But because I know that, I can breathe life into his perspective, which has its own internal logic. Most of your arguments so far actually are wrong, and I would argue against them as a lawyer for him in court, which is functionally what I'm doing.
Right.
There is a way to attack it, but you have not found it quite. So yeah,
Oh.
so the
I feel
dice
like I'm
tell.
so goddamn
I know the way to
close.
attack it.
And it's your turn.
Don't blow.
Press that button.
Oh god.
I hold up the thing.
Are you talking to Cetos or to the wolf?
I'm
The
talking.
rectangular
I'm
cylinder.
talking to the rectangular cylinder. I am talking to the wolf. I'm not trying to convince you.
Oh, there's our first mistake.
I'm going to tell you this. If you do not release your hold of Cetos, I will blow up Phobos. I don't care if that makes us seem like the vile savages you think you are. All your technology, all your advancement, all your philosophy, all of that will be ended with a rock.
He walks up to you. He stands at an uncomfortably close distance in your mind's eye. He looks you in the eyes and says, "Press it."
Damn it, it's a lighter.
Or whatever you have.
I put down the lighter.
Are you going to take any other actions?
No, it was an actual lighter, that's all I had.
He goes.
Am I marking you complete? What am I doing
Damn
here?
it. Like, wow, like,
Buffalo, you have the best performance.
I do, like,
And persuade. Please do something.
It would have.
I'm
I
sorry.
Mean, just to
I'm
be,
sorry.
Just
Just
to-
like
he would have just, like, let everything been wiped out by a moon.
No,
the way the technology works is it's a remote, advanced radio signal that Cetos easily could have blocked from ever reaching Phobos.
Nerd.
That
damn
nerd.
it! I wanted to see the explosion.
I wanted to see that. I'm going to accidentally do it
Yeah, yeah.
later
On
on.
our way
As
home.
you're leaving, everything's perfect.
everything.
Oh, cool. You like sit on it, like,
Like,
oh,
I try to get it out to, like,
Time to
light a
fly.
cigarette, like, oh!
Yeah.
That's not the lighter.
Time to fly out of here.
No, but that was it. So, like, darn.
Well, you could use that as like a talking point.
Wait, what does that mean?
Spoke up.
What is-
all right,
no, that was a bluff.
okay, fair enough.
Arnold puts the lighter. No, that was a bluff. Good
All right,
So
fair
you
enough.
put it away. He needs to resist a temptation because he's starting to get pissed off now.
Yep.
yeah, I know. We've just been yelling at him.
But
re-
this is all
he re-
happening
he rolled-
simultaneously.
I didn't
you
yell.
said.
I didn't yell.
I yelled.
He's no.
Mad.
He is frustrated that you can't see his perspective.
Oh, you know
He
what?
now knows that you guys are the best of the best. He knows everything about what history of you is in the database, which he acknowledges, to Nora's point, is a collection of data points, albeit correct ones. And he would think at least somebody would have the wisdom to see his side.
So, hold on.
My
So if I
whole
can't-
wisdom?
if the lighter doesn't work, can I stab him?
Jesus.
Okay, cool. Gonna stab him.
Okay.
He's gonna.
Should I
If you kill yourself,
I know this
Arnold
is all happening
going-
simultaneously, but since I've already gone and can't affect what's about to happen, could I roll in an attempt to understand his way of
Roll
thinking?
again.
Were those the first two dice?
I rolled them all at once. I'm sorry.
Which ones are typically the first ones?
I usually roll the pretty ones.
Then that is a natural 12 and
Okay.
counts. So you have to roll it one more time.
And a 4.
Okay?
Plus
And you are
his knife
stabbing into the
fighting,
natural
excellent.
20.
And plus, the knife fighting is so plus 6.
To be fair, he did walk right up to you. However, I did say it was in your mind's eye. So you,
Yeah, you did.
basically the image of Cetos is in your mind and you stab him, and with
image of
your,
Cetos is-
with almost like a literal and figurative venom, almost like what the Hydra does to people that it affects, it
Oh,
erodes Cetos in your mind eye. Whether that caused him pain physically or emotionally is unseen, but you have a feeling that it was not a pleasant sensation for him.
For
Good.
who? The wolf and the Cetos?
Unfortunately, both.
6 damage.
Right. I would say this is more emotional than physical.
6 trauma.
Yeah, 6 trauma. Right, right.
He
All right.
serves the tea in post-stress Earlier you
Mark
said
it.
PSD.
Right.
That's
Yes,
a
right,
Photoshop
right.
file.
So this is all happening. This just happened.
That should
No,
not have worked.
Yeah.
this is those
All of
3
this
things
is
happened at
happening
the
all of a sudden.
exact
Oh,
same
jeez, that's
time.
tough.
So you have basically I'm trying to make it so there's no way to gain benefit from each other's experiences.
I want to mind meld with Cetas.
No, what did you declare earlier?
That's what I want.
Mind meld with Cetas.
Cetas.
Okay.
And in Marcus's opinion, Cetas is the key here to defeating the wolf.
Not an unreasonable perspective.
I think
given-
he's the original gangster. So my goal is to help sever that link by reminding Cetas, despite his being influenced by the wolf, his true purpose, which is to always be curious, to always be searching for something new. And what the wolf is doing is literally eliminating that possibility for the human race.
How is he eliminating it? What's the core of it? You can use the dice to tell your story, but in your opinion, in what way is the wolf
He's taking away free will, whether it's just for one thing or more than one thing, it doesn't matter.
So you're saying,
Curiosity
Whether it's
requires free will
okay.
in order to seek.
And you're saying that
to
even if it's
satiate
just in one
curiosity,
area,
you have to have free will.
it has to go away. Some of that will go away, which means that
A lot of it will go away.
fair enough. Okay.
Can I use an example to aid your argument? Just because he'll definitely have it in his mind. Think like the Odyssey and the Island of the Lotus. If you're given tranquility and peace, which is what he's offering us, then why do we need to look for anything else? If we have
stuck in a casino.
What if we
Okay.
distract Cetas with a cat?
Fair enough.
And-
Persuade. Unless you want any other details.
Were you trying to like break Cetas's or the wolf's hold off of Cetas's?
But by reminding Cetas's intentions, that's the goal. Yes.
Of
Is
his
to
that's
sever
his
the link.
that's his personal goal.
That's his personal intention, which I
Yeah.
think will overpower
It goes in
whatever
direct
the wolf has done to him,
opposition,
regardless of the drug or anything. Because I think Cetas inherently, his
Cetas
power is far greater than anybody that's ever
Cetas's need
existed.
for knowledge is greater.
That's
than
what I think.
Yeah.
It seems like a fair
It's a
hypothesis.
it's a loving embrace.
I look forward to your rolls. Do you have a coin?
No. So 9 plus 6. I'll roll the 9 there. 9 and 9 and 49er.
Technically, it should be 4. And what are you doing? So I get where you're going. So
I am basically reminding. It's complicated.
I get it. No,
It's both a reminder, but it's also I am helping him tap back into himself and his true power. And
I understand.
What he truly represents and what he is,
Okay.
and why he is literally vital to the success of this mission. And that's my intent, is to be the best that I can be to further this mission along and complete it. And one of my top skills is persuade, so I figure I'm using all those things together.
So you realize quickly that Cetas has absolute control over the use of the firewall within this building, which is why it is a perfect prison for you, despite the fact that you're enormously powerful. So you're right. This is not about you using your intent to manifest something great. This is about the philosophy. This is about Cetas ceding control over his power to the wolf because he thinks that's closer to his intent, right? So you are using the argument that how is it more curious to facilitate that? Yes, the wolf has more experience with the firewall. Yes, he can provide you with this gift, but at the end of the day, you've neutered your own curiosity and billions of other people forever if you maintain this position.
Mm-hmm.
That is the opposite of what it means to be curious. What are you exploring? If it's already all mapped for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the crux of your argument.
Yeah.
You win. You beat Cetas. You are able to change him to your side of doing things. And the second that you do that, the wolf's degree of control over the firewall in this building has now ceased and ended.
Oh, nice.
However,
Does he dissipate the wolf? Like he's no
no.
longer. in
However,
the
the wolf maintains control over this physical form where Cetos resides.
Uh-oh.
So this
Freed
being,
Cetos' mind, but his body.
So where is Cetos now, hypothetically?
he's in the body in his own prison. However, you have successfully, you only had two
So-
turns after you, successfully made
it
this
so
not
we
a
can
prison.
escape, hypothetically.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
but you have to find a way to get your ship out. But let's call a spade a spade.
May I continue in action or no?
Unfortunately, no.
Non-combat?
However, if you didn't take that turn, given Asima's turn, you had one chance with the legs, and it would have been game. So I appreciate you succeeding.
Captain.
Asima,
Yeah, let's
you
go
are
into
going to the iris.
Yep, I'm still in stealth. Even though I
And-
don't know if that's like even worth.
I admit the way that temporal mechanics work, as you're moving, you do regain access to the firewall because of Marcus's interaction with Cetos.
Nice.
So you can use your power, whereas
Okay.
no one else in their turn could.
Okay.
So how are you going to get and extract and do whatever you wish to do with the iris?
I don't even know how the iris is lodged up there, so the first thing I need to do is actually get to it.
I mean,
What's it
Use it-
look like?
with your control over the predator suit, you can be there in a couple seconds
Dude, just
max.
absorb it into you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I mean, that would be more aggressive than filtering the Mars neural network through your brain. Like,
Yeah.
that would be the
That would be dumb.
number one
Come
on
on.
the list of aggressive
Yeah.
stuff that we have
Consume the
collectively done.
That's like
Please.
Orin stuffing
Yeah.
like the eye into.
It depends how big the iris is.
It's
Because
about as big as this table, and it is a large
so I was gonna say
square.
we have a new 13 robot with a chest cavity, but that's way bigger.
It's pretty large.
Well, good news is 13 can always expand his body.
You're up there.
Cannon
You're
now.
right next to it. It
How
is.
is it like? Yeah, like what do I see? How is it there?
Wow. Okay. It is vibrating, not physically, but on a different wavelength, vibrating a spectrum of light that you didn't even know could exist, and you are feeling the flow of potential energy go in and out of it. You've stood in front of great waterfalls on Earth, and the level of energy and spirit that was in that is somewhat akin to this. However, it is on a significantly different level.
Okay.
And you are perceiving what the iris is doing on multiple different levels simultaneously. It is quite the experience.
Okay. Can I put a shield around it in order to basically to move it?
You can try.
Like, because I want to try and get into the ship.
Okay. So when you go up to it, your gravity, so to speak, oddly melds with its own gravity, for lack of a better way.
Okay.
And similar to how Pig was floating around Rana, the iris comes around you because your intent was to have it come with you. So there's no shield around it, but you have retrieved it.
Great. Okay.
You
So
have your own personal moon.
Yeah.
don't blow it up.
I only promise to try.
Okay.
So can I want to get into the ship.
All right. This is for Rana's. This is for Tane. So Tane is starting to read the tea leaves and decides to board the ship and
Yep.
go help Rana.
Ace.
So she has to go though after legs, but you can start to descend toward the ship.
Okay.
So
Okay.
am
You
I
got
still
touch.
part of?
Yeah, because that's so it's like Tane and Marcus together.
That's fair. Yeah, you're still around him, but so I guess you're now back on the ship.
So he
Although-
gets there fast.
How does it feel to have? How does it feel to have Tanya inside you?
or
Delicious.
Nice.
other way.
Good.
All right.
I feel he
legs.
finally feels.
All right, baby, let's do it.
The prison that you are in has been destroyed, however, potentially at great cost.
So, do I have access to
You do.
my ability?
You do.
Great. Do it. Then I'd like to talk to the wolf, and I would like to use my energy, use my potential to lower his beliefs, wipe the red from his eyes, and have him not only see from our standpoint, but I think he hasn't heard anyone from our standpoint agree with him.
That's not true. I agree with him.
True. I would just start by, lowered.
So yeah, what if he is being manipulated by somebody else? That's something we never thought of.
Okay, so roll for your power to see whether you're successful. This is more of an intuition. This is a feeling, not electronics. And then he will do the same, and that will dictate how your conversation, or on what platform it is held. 20? I see.
Wow.
What do the people who roll d20s do for compiling?
You got the
and,
touch.
That's
18.
You got the
On the
power.
Okay. That's
That's
a good
38.
question. I haven't written it yet.
It's a 38.
Yeah, just add it.
Yeah. Grim.
+6 for hacking.
True.
You are a child in your mind's eye, and you are swinging on a swing set next to the wolf, who is also a child. And the barriers of life experience, whether that baggage or emotions or perspective from an adult world perspective, are gone. So your conversation will be colored from that point of view.
Then in a very childlike fashion, I will just pick up a stick get off the swing set, pick up a stick, and then just in the dirt draw 2 circles, one representing Earth, one representing Mars, and just try and show him in a childlike manner what our worlds could be if we worked together instead of not knowing of each other's existence and not understanding each other's existence and fighting against each other for reasons that are practical, active from one to the other.
Okay. Roll another one.
But also trying to impart that I do get that this is a way to go about it. But you could also make the argument that all death to Earth and Mars could achieve the goal you're looking for.
All death? Oh, you mean it's like basically
all
the same? That's another guarantee?
Right. If Earth and Mars die, it is a guarantee that we will not destroy each other. So if there's that radical fact, and there's this middle fact of neutering or whatever Arnold lobotomizing a nation, there is the death to all.
Okay.
There is the lobotomation.
Right.
And then there is the survival and expansion of both and all.
I'm looking forward to this.
Oh,
Another 20.
another nat 20.
Nat 20!
And this was rolling 3s and 5s earlier, so.
So sorry.
Nat
And
20
another
again!
20.
On top of it,
And a 7.
2020.
Which is my lucky number.
Yeah, 2020.
So sorry, dude. That's brutal.
47.
let the DM
+6 for
struggle.
hacking.
It's okay.
Have we derailed?
Yeah, what the heck?
anything?
What happens?
Do we win?
I'm pretty sure close to winning.
Does 2 nat 20s in a row
So-
win?
Obviously, the complexity of what you just articulated is outside of what you'd associate with a child. However, what you do is you draw the planets that have hands, and the hands are holding each other.
They have sunglasses on.
Right. I mean, it's beautiful, but the way that you move, I don't know if you've ever seen like a master artist paint or a master dancer dance, but the way that you flow through it conveys just as much of a story about your intent of the picture than the picture itself. And the wolf, with all his barriers down, is forced to watch it. And he has to take it. Just like Marcus had to take all of the suffering, he has to take your perspective and he has to acknowledge it.
Okay.
and accept it.
Poor Ian.
Yeah, I mean,
It's brutal. 220s in a row. What are you supposed to say with that? It really that sucks. I don't know.
he would say, you know,
There is a way.
you're right. You're right. At the end of the day, you know.
Think of
And by the way, the wolf has been doing this for a long time. He has a ton of power. So he was very curious about it. So he kind of, I know that you rolled a 20, but I think even if you didn't, he would have let you remove the barriers just to see where you were going because he saw how you worked with James. So I think the fact that it was a 20 was kind of indicative of that.
Before I knew I got my powers, I was going to straight up ask him.
Right. And I think he agrees with you. And there is a big part of him that wishes that that were the case. But the wolf's power is a perfect conviction. So he actually can't be turned. He'll die first. So
Does he kill himself?
the wolf has basically been poisoned. And he will have to die soon by the internal logic of his connection to the firewall. So you have, in effect, started the clock on his death.
So wait, what you're saying is if we intentionally go against, if we're swayed against our true intent, we'll die?
Nope.
It's the nature of his.
His
Okay.
is, I would rather die than not bring my conviction about.
Got
So
it.
his was no more suffering as a byproduct of our animalistic violent tendencies. So his conviction, so as a human being, you were successful. But the power of the firewall is above the emotional impulses. So you actually successfully swayed him. I mean, the second that you did that, just like what he did to Cetas, the second that he did that, you actually, in theory, severed his connection to the firewall because he went against his original intent, which means that it has to be severed. As a matter of fact, the reason why his clock starts is because he was siphoning life force from the firewall for the past 50 years. So you cut him off, and now he's just going to be a super old man, like Adrian Pansina, the first man to set foot on Mars, like 120 years old. So wherever he is, you just cut him off successfully.
So it's like literally like Saruman getting tossed back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, you just straight
It's
up.
Mother
yeah.
Gotham falling out of the window.
So Cetas is back
would-
to having control.
You saved Cetas' life. I was certain he was gonna die.
Yeah!
Wow, very very impressive.
I would if the wolf did the wolf like phase out of
Yeah, what happened?
existence. Like, do we get any parting last words or?
Yeah,
Maybe a thank you.
Tell us where you are.
Well, it would be.
Tell
you
us
know,
where you are.
We don't want you to die. Yeah, I know you've been siphoning this power. Let us come and help you so that you can help us achieve this third option. Because you're not a mechanical being. You might have established this intent in the beginning, but you, with your own free will, get to make that choice.
I want that drug. Like, we at least need to bring it back to Earth and study it. Like, I don't want it to disappear. Sorry.
Wait, what? No.
Doctor. you-
No.
So
Definitely want
Yeah.
that drug.
the wolf.
I'm going to help you procure one sample and then ensure that one sample gets destroyed.
Nope.
The wolf
I like the
is
karate.
ever
hands.
the planner.
It's good.
He planned to get Cetas here so they could have the perfect trap, which backfired. However, he still has a backup plan, and that's your grandfather.
Yeah.
He basically has worked with the grandfather, saying that if I ever falter, should I ever falter, you will be the bulwark and the spine of our plan. And because the grandfather has made that commitment, that soul pact, you basically you severed his connection, and James, your grandfather, you see him, you have a vision of your grandfather still sustained, similar to what Marcus saw, inside near the heart of, the Colossus, the Mount Everest-esque Titan, control of all of their armies. You see him holding the wolf, a frail old man, barely able to hold on to his humanity. And he says, to you that we'll have to settle this the way that our ancestors did. This isn't about words anymore. You know where we are. We'll see you on the battlefield. He's out.
Time to fight Grandpa.
Or time to moon Grandpa.
Yes, we have access to it.
That being said, like, I don't remember us ever having control over actually blowing up the moon. Like, I don't think we ever actually had explosives on the
I
moon.
thought we already
I thought-
agreed
I
that
thought we
we.
did.
So the moon has the laboratory has a self-destruct,
Yeah.
which I thought was augmented
Yeah.
to
It was.
not blow up the moon, but rip such a huge chunk off of it that it would destroy the moon's orbit.
Okay.
So it's not blow up the moon technically, but it isn't. It functionally does.
I don't
Take a
actually
choke
want to have that power. That is a joke. Just
Please
to
don't
clarify.
let
That was
happen.
excellent.
Please.
That was not
No.
supposed to happen for quite some time, but well played. Also, rolling multiple 20s in a row. Beautiful shit.
Jesus, man.
Well done.
What
So
my intent was made for.
you, Cetos, you're still standing there, and Cetos falls, and you're able to hold him, and you have freed him, and he reaches out to you, with such a deep sorrow for what he considers his betrayal of all of you, and he knows why he was made, and he's weeping, and he says he's so sorry.
They took your free will just like they plan to do everyone else.
I let them.
No, but, some people on Earth will let them take their free will. But that's not for the greater good. You, right now, get to make the choice whether you're going to redeem that choice that you made, or you're going to sink into...
Persuade.
I'm gonna. 3. 17. 7. 17 plus... hacker?
He says,
I'm
You know-
wise, plus 2.
he says, maybe so. Then there is a gift that I have for all of you, which, incidentally, you would not have gotten if you had not saved his life.
Yeet.
Downloaded into the Kaizen's tactical systems is the layout and configuration of their entire army,
The Colossus.
Ooh, good.
and as well as a plan that Cetos has thought of for how to use the iris in your favor, which I will give you as a bonus for your second 20.
So it's
For
like
free.
it's just chilling in the ship now.
So what we're gonna say is we're gonna speed time ahead a little bit, but what we're gonna say is, and I'll give you an opportunity to talk or whatever, but what we're going to say is instead of having to do a roll to design a method for defeating a creature which is literally as big as the tallest mountain on the planet, he has already designed how to do that for you for free by virtue of your roll.
Great.
Well done. Now, you earned it. You rolled multiple 20s in a row in the most critical situation in the game. So that's on you.
Cool.
Well played.
So
How honorable.
Cetos is alive.
He's alive in his
we-
body. However,
What is-
his power,
It's diminished.
it's like it's like being super gun shy. It's like he has lost his confidence in himself, so he doesn't know how to assert it. It still exists, the potential within him.
Even
But
after our mind meld, he still feels that way.
yeah, because you were right. You're the one that allowed him to not agree with the wolf, but he saw he has such sorrow and regret over what he did, which could have easily got you killed, or worse. The wolf's plan could have
So-
come.
I mean, what I would do is I would
Just touch him. He'll be fine.
I would hold his hand to make sure that he's all healed and whatever, but I would walk him over to 13 and be like,
Oh, for sure.
13 is still actively having an existential crisis over a fundamental.
He's had a hell of a day.
Yeah, the guy's got a little bit of
Well,
an
that's like
issue.
72 hours for 13
Doc-
have been
Doctor-
quite
Amazing
traumatic.
and rough.
Doctor,
Right.
I'm having a hard time too.
So, allowing them to be like, would you place blame on 13 for why he was created? Would you in any way hold malintent towards him as a being? Of course not. And 13 I'm sure, has a deep respect for what you've done for this group and how you have upheld your own ideals and pillars. Like, you two are perfect foils for each other. I mean, seriously, however many hundreds of years apart you are, you also technically existed at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Can
Curiosity
I
was
give
built
that
in
brother
like
hug?
In 2020,
no, he was built in what 2012.
2000,
Who?
okay, yeah.
Curiosity, the rover.
Oh, I don't know.
It's been on Mars for several years. But in any event, he's over 100 years old. He's 13 is also. They're actually very similar in age,
Right.
ironically.
We're like 80.
I would say, yeah, he's probably about 30, 40 years, but given how old all of you are, so
My
the
day,
older than
we
you.
used to go around Mars on wheels.
Chef
Right.
each other.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. Does anyone... All right, so let's just do this in a more elegant way. You are all aware by virtue of your connection to the firewall that the prison no longer exists and that now pretty much the only thing that remains is stopping the Colossus from bringing the Leviathan army to Earth. However, you have functionally defeated their leader. So in the resulting battle, they will be weakened.
Now, because we have the iris, do we have like the maximum potential possible?
Yes.
Yeet.
And we can get out of the pyramid without breaking through it and releasing all that stuff.
With the iris, Rana can do it.
Great.
She can phase through it.
Beautiful.
I want to make myself a giant, fight my grandpa.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Okay.
stop it, please.
All right. So this scene is absolutely going to happen. As a result of all that stuff, let's just play catch up a little bit in terms of we all knowing what happened, catch each other up on all of the individual experiences. So we can say, unless you have any objections, that we kind of do that for free and speed it up to either you're getting on the ship or you're already on the ship. Unless anyone has any objections.
I think we're already
Be
on the ship.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Citas's plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do this first because I think he needs to be embraced by everybody so that he doesn't think that you all hold him, accountable or think he's, hate him or
We
or
get on the
whatever.
ship, we all group hug.
I blew up
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. Does that make you feel better?
I'm
Yeah.
very. Look, I stabbed you. Bygones be bygones.
There you go.
That hurt.
Good. So did your betrayal.
Yeah.
And Tane is just gonna like move you away. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Right,
Thank
right,
you very
right.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you got out of this scene with both Hane and Citas alive is borderline incredible.
Hey, the Earth's in
I had
their
them at
greatest-
like 80-20, both dying.
Damn.
You know
So-
what? You're incredible.
I am honored you would say such a thing. So yeah, I say let's have a
Shave
moment
Hava?
where no.
Okay, why'd you
Launch
say,
the
like-
ship. The ship is like less than a day from launching. It's hours away from leaving.
Wait, guys, hear me out on this. I'm bringing back the moon idea, but for like practical reasons. We let the ship launch, and we lure it next to the moon.
So
it's not
let me
too
just
bad.
talk about the moon really quick.
Things Ian didn't think
As
he'd
a
have to bring up in
cancer,
this
I
game.
disagree with you wholeheartedly. But as a character, I
If
love it.
you activate the device on the moon,
Okay.
regardless of whether that your plan makes any sense, which one could argue that it does not, assuming it actually explodes, there will be such an impact to the surface of the planet and its overall ecosystem that it is difficult to put into words.
Is there really an ecosystem though?
Absolutely.
You know what? I recant my statement out of my own.
There
personal
are
safety.
100 million plus life forms on that planet. There's a thriving ecosystem. They terraformed the planet. It now has its own atmosphere.
Oh yeah, it does. It has a forest now, right?
Yeah, it's a planet. It's a class like you
Class
say
M.
Star Trek
M?
class M planet, as I say.
Class
What does the M stand for?
And hey, if they can't
Good question.
lobotomize
I do
our
not know.
people, we can't lobotomize theirs.
Correct.
Well, that's
Okay,
not
well, we're not
lobotomy.
lobotomized,
It's
we're
absolute
destroying.
I
genocide.
care about every
Which is a
single
form
life
of
on this planet.
lobotomization.
So
None of
I
them can
wouldn't-
die.
But that's not like a 1A or a 1B option because if
That's
you
like Plan
if-
Z.
right, okay.
It's like we've been rolling really bad all day.
So
Let's-
Yeah, clearly.
does anyone have anything specific they want to say to CTOS, or do you want to try to just roll this away, which you certainly can do whether with persuade or intuition via your own empathy. It's if you want to say something specific, that's fine. You don't have to.
I've said what I need to say.
Yeah,
And then group hug.
To two Cetas?
Yeah, and 13
Or
in the med.
Ton?
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna say,
also there.
I would like Tane to talk to the two of them. That would be that's who I would
Kanye
push.
was originally supposed to talk to the two of you, and then he died.
Right. Yeah. So I would like
Well,
push
he
that.
didn't die.
It's like his job, right? You know, like that's who he is.
He's like
So-
the spiritual.
Yeah.
You're all in the med bay, all of you, unless you explicitly don't want to be
Yeah,
there,
I'm just
which is
going
your
around
choice.
just beep beep beep, making sure that everyone's fine.
Are you making the beat?
You're
Yeah.
metagaming. How dare you metagame so effectively? Yeah. And Tane is the last person to enter, and he can tell that there is a
Oh no.
As
A
he enters,
cloud.
can I just go to take off my predator suit
Sure.
off of him?
Oh, yeah, like
Nice and warm, baby.
yeah. And everybody turns to him, and it's that moment where we're all together again. After quite a bit has
minus
happened.
one person.
And
Not all of
he is very in tune with the moment. What's happened to him? Like, do you know what his last 48 hours were like?
Nope.
They sucked. He resisted. He was actually in my head. I had envisioned him like, he's a human being. He has to succumb eventually. He rolled an 11 when the difficulty was probably a 10 or an 11. He did it. Not my problem. To his credit.
It's not my
Yeah.
chair either.
Yeah.
Legit and straight up no problem.
He reads.
World.
He reads the room and he walks right up to Cetas and gives him a big old hug. Doesn't say a damn thing. And so again, I have to because I know I shouldn't rely on references.
Roll for
But there's I don't care if this is IP. I love it so much. In the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition DVD, there's a from a behind the scenes, very similar to this, where Viggo Mortensen has his last scene with the guys who played the Uruk-hai, and he headbutts the first guy to be like, "I'm with you, buddy," and then he has to
do that New Zealand tribal dance.
Yeah,
right?
and exactly. They do the haka for him,
Yeah.
Maori,
Yeah.
because it's Tane, right? And he feels like the actor, Viggo says, I have to headbutt all of them now. So he goes around to like 15 guys, headbutts them each.
Ow.
And at the end, he got a serious concussion. So Tane hugs the first guy and he's like, well, I'm going around in a circle. So he just starts hugging everybody. And just like, I'm bringing you into this, like it or not. So he hugs 13, who he never actually saw as his original self. He might have had somewhat more
He's
resolution.
Oh, does he think he's Marcus?
He just thinks he's Marcus.
I would assume that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He might have
Marcus
been like
is so
Marcus.
The predator suit is very much there.
Wait,
It's
so
not
does he
visible.
hug the predator suit?
No, the predator suit's off. It's just invisible.
he
It's
just
just
kinda-
walking. And Tony's just like, what a day.
He just kinda-
like, this is quite the day.
He just goes to the ship and
It's
just
just
kinda to a wall.
Yeah.
I don't know your wife was here.
Yeah.
Also, the
He's
strange
like,
woman.
I don't know who you are. You're part of the crew. Rana comes in, the glowing helmet, takes it off. She's there, and just starts going around, hugs everybody. And then, after an uncomfortable amount of time of silent hugging, like a truly uncomfortable amount of time,
needed it.
Speak for
You're like-
yourself. This
you're-
is very comfortable.
everyone's like, well, we're here, we're alive, and we have control in many ways over our destiny that we didn't before. In Cetas, that anguish that he was feeling over what he did starts to wash away a little bit. 13 starts to feel more like a person and having a purpose and a passion. All of you having gone through what you've gone through, I don't know, the closest analogy is like, you storming the beaches at D-Day and you're having a cigarette after blowing out a bunker with a flamethrower, and it's just like, I don't know how to articulate that experience. I just need a moment to rest and recover, right? And so this is that cathartic moment that you're all there together when Cetas decides to display virtually in his true physical form what his plan is for the
What
Irons.
does his true physical form look like? Because we never really got to see
Yeah.
that, did we?
Yeah, he said it was godlike.
So when it was filled with power, it is, because he is the embodiment in many ways of what the firewall represents. But he's very similar, his body is very similar to how the All Reds work, in that their faces are up to your impression. So all of you see different things. So whatever your emotional connection is with Cetas, that's kind of what you project onto his face. like who you think in your head Cetas looks like, that's what he looks like. Right? So I can't tell you that, nor can I tell the audience, but that is what he looks like.
Antonio
Looks
Banderas.
like Heath Ledger.
Right. Antonio
would
Banderas and
also-
Heath Ledger do not look the same.
Yeah, a little bit.
You think so?
I would also say
He has the
that
Zorro mask on.
my buddy
And the
Pig,
Joker.
like I do a little whisper into his ear, and he starts to play "Don't Worry, Be Happy" around the room and
Oh.
like very loud speakers.
Right. Roll 2d6.
Oh.
Don't let it be heavy.
And Piglet is going around doing the whistles.
9.
So if
And it's at that moment of bring happiness to a crew who sorely needs it that Pig says, after the song is over, Pig says the words out loud at the end, "Don't worry, be happy."
And I just like I look around and I feel like no one else would necessarily recognize, but I was like, I didn't teach him how to speak. Like
You
it's not
did
in
not
his
have a
head.
voice function until recently.
Sentient.
"Don't worry, be happy" is now Pig's shtick in life.
Oh no.
if Cetas is safe, does that mean the cats are not?
The cats? What do you mean?
Curiosity.
Oh,
You're awful.
He didn't kill the cat.
fair enough. And that
I'll
is
see myself up.
Pig's purpose. Don't worry, be happy. So that is what he or she has decided to, or they, or whatever the pronoun is, but that's what their shtick is.
They. That's what they feel.
Pig is a he.
Cetas is
Piglet is
definitely
a she.
for me.
Gender fluid beings.
Like Susan Sarandon.
Robots.
Truly robots.
Gender
S'il vous
fluid
plaît.
pigs.
Okay. So to wrap a nice bow on this episode, the plan that Cetas displays is a very complicated breakdown of how the concept of potential energy flows in and out of the prism of the iris. So you understand probably a tenth of what he's talking about. High science folks, probably at least half, but it is extremely complicated. The nexus of what he's trying to say is that we all are accessing it in a very tight physical area. And by doing that, we are augmenting the amount of energy that is flowing to and from the iris. So taking that a step further, if one person did it, the flow would be this much. If all of us are doing it at the same time, it's a lot more. So we have control over the ebb and flow by default. I think we all agree with that. He's talking a bit scientifically, it's just like you're trying to pick it up. So he thinks that the Colossus is such a physically huge being that we can basically use the energy created through the iris to create something that can physically destroy or break down the Colossus. So pretend for a moment that the Kaizen had wings and we were fluttering like a butterfly near the Colossus and one of the wings cut it down, right? Or whether, something came out of the ship and cut it. But that, instead of a physical thing, is the conglomeration of all of our potential put together as one unified flow through the iris.
That'd be a really big fist.
To cut different type of
Like,
damage.
A Wolverine fist?
Colossus.
So he's thinking that if all of you are concurrently using your potential energy through the firewall via the iris, you can use that river of energy that you're creating together as a destructive force to take down the Colossus.
And what about you, Cetas?
I will be among you doing that.
Okay.
With
Excellent.
our powers combined.
And now, are we in a general understanding that the Colossus is like giant robot controlled by the grandfather?
Grampy?
Like,
Yep.
the Colossus is not a being.
And like a
Grandfather species.
semi-unconscious.
That's a
old
good question.
dude.
The Colossus may, similar to Pig, have its own consciousness. It might not. It might just be purely a tool of destruction, or what you would consider evil, depending on your nature or philosophy. But as far as you know, it is a tool
Originated.
created by James.
Well, the interesting thing is I was originally a tool mass destruction. So, it has potential if it does have free will. We can turn it around potentially. Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to
Let's
turn
do
the
it.
wolf, and you did. So
Ian, just before we wrap up, as we are on the eve of battle, can I roll, I guess, like history of some kind or something to connect, or probably electronics, but like connect to the neural network and just figure out exactly who sent the bombs to an extent? Or is there any way to understand certain other people's roles in events?
So what you gained from the Adune Industries laboratory on Phobos is
Yeah.
that there were 12 Marcuses,
Yeah, exactly.
each with a number, that were set to the various 13 locations and detonated. 2 of them spontaneously generated free will in time enough to save their own life, but not to stop the bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you looking, in addition to that, for?
Who was the one that ordered us to do it?
Kinda, yeah. Like, basically,
So far
where's
as what the files tell you is that this comes from Adewale Adune via his company.
okay. Can I maybe do? Gosh, I hate asking. Is there any kind of role I could do? But like,
I mean, you can ask that.
is there any kind of role I can do to determine whether or not how truthful that is, or like get any more concrete evidence in one way or another to determine whether or not Adewale Adune is the sole cause of what happened?
So I'll tell you for free is that there's no more information on that on the neural network.
Yeah.
But the former, you can roll for with an intuition roll.
What you do is you look at the file itself, and you look at the created date and then the modified date. And if they're the same date, then it's truthful. But if the modified date is after the created date, then somebody modified it.
Cool.
Unless the module was modified.
Are you
to
sure
be
I
modified.
can't use science?
For me, this is more of a feeling. Like, you've already deduced fact. The fact tells you he's guilty.
Okay. True, this is Nora actually attempting to have a feeling, which is why I have 1 dice.
Afraid so.
It's a 5.
I was hoping for a 1.
Your mind goes blank.
Again, you don't believe it. You refuse to believe it.
Can
However,
can I add logic, like, because I'm a logistician, can I try and add logic to it to try and break through that emotion to see the true fact of it all? And, because that would give an additional 4, which would make the roll a 9.
+2 for good justification.
fair enough.
Thank you.
Jared.
It's right here.
I know, you're adorable.
I don't think I've ever used it.
Hacking?
Yeah. Okay. So again, you are a scientist
Yes.
who
Never.
does not have prejudice about what things should be. Right?
Yes.
You look at the evidence and then that paints the picture for you. The picture that's painted is that he is unequivocally guilty.
Is he old enough?
Your
now?
emotions won't let you believe it, but the facts are unassailable. In one form or another, he is guilty of this crime. That is your conclusion.
But was it a small part or was it a major part in this?
We have no idea.
He just said major.
We don't really.
Well, his corporation played a major role. Whether or not he actually, signed, sealed, delivered that death sentence, we can never really know until I
So maybe
talk to him.
it was a lot like the wolf in terms of he wanted to create a utopia through chaos.
We don't know.
And if that's the case, then I just spent.
Maybe Ed Wall is a lot like the wolf in some respect.
And maybe he's
But the
innocent, or
opposite.
maybe he's guilty, but I won't know that until I get home, and I need to get home to do that. So let's go beat up a robot.
Let's go beat up a robot.
He's the opposite.
Let's go fight my grandpa.
Ed Wall is the opposite
Zoids.
logic
Can't go
of the
fight
wolf.
mine.
All right, we have a little bit of time. So what other actions are we going to take? We can't go to the battlefield. Well, I will tell you else about the battlefield that I'll say that you saw because you saw all their tactical layouts via CTOS, is that there is the Colossus and then the many entrances to Olympus Mons, the huge, incomprehensibly large mountain on Mars, and the Leviathans, coming out, and then they're all kind of like walking toward Mars Prime. Like you're basically going to meet on this giant battlefield, and on the Colossus's shoulder is the witch, who's very much alive. So you have 2 out of the 3. You would have had to fight 3 out of 3. So good for you on that.
Come at me. Come at me, witch.
That is what is arrayed against you.
I forgot about
So
her.
any other
I didn't.
actions?
Are there any upgrades we can make to the ship given what we like? Anything else we can do?
I would say you have to pretty much uniformly focus on activating this weapon of sorts.
Got it.
But if there's something reasonable and specific, you can request it. I'd have a hard time believing you'd have time to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
Yes,
I have to use a reference.
I'm listening.
Okay. You know how Picard was once assimilated,
Yes.
and he hears those voices in first contact. He knows exactly where to fire to destroy that Borg cube.
Correct.
Cetas had a direct link with a wolf,
Mhm.
and probably learned a lot of information.
He knows where the weak spots are.
Maybe he knows where the weak spot is in the Colossus to utterly destroy it with one powerful blow, with quantums, if you will, metaphorically.
That's what he's given you.
Oh.
This weapon,
Correct.
if you're able to strike it and get to it, but you have a lady who controls the atmosphere, 100.
You have a lady that controls the atmosphere.
They don't necessarily know that. 100 million extremely powerful robot or android things. I mean, that are like they have the Anubis head.
What
Like,
is controlling the robots?
I have a knife.
It is the grandpappy
Yep.
in that beast.
so how are you gonna
We
physically
destroy-
get to it?
We gotta upgrade the stealth technology. Just go.
I'm gonna have Rana teleport me
You know
into
what?
the cockpit.
We
and
can-
I'm just gonna punch him.
We can,
No.
we
It's
can
not
find
gonna-
out next time.
So
We'll
fine.
have plenty of time to plan.
the deal is basically you have to get to it, and in order to get to it, you have to get through the atmosphere and literal nature. 100 million extraordinarily powerful things, any two of which could beat you in a normal fight, to activate your power successfully, and then beat it without it counteracting your
Wait,
your
you're
ability.
saying we have to go into space in order to
Nope.
meet.
No, you're gonna fly over the desert.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to
Well,
make
in
it.
that
How are you gonna
case-
get to it without the 100 million leviathans and lightning lady?
Invisibility.
You haven't cracked their capacity to take you out yet. They can still see through
But
yourself.
that's the goal.
But
That's
what
what I'm
about-
trying
Fair
to
enough.
say.
So, question about Rana's intent.
She is going to say in next episode, trust me, I got this.
Oh, great.
She
have
is
a
going to get
process?
you there. And it's going to be a
Wild ride. Yeah.
strap in situation.
So, just from a battlefield layout perspective, you're saying we have to get through all of the Leviathans first before even getting close to the Colossus?
They are going to surround it like bees surround a hive. They will not let you in.
But we
Can
are
they fly?
flying.
So are they.
What?
They can.
fly like the little Admiral's pod?
How do you think that they were going to get on Earth? Just by foot? No,
No, I
they
thought
can
they were
fly.
They were
taking
gonna
a
fly
ship.
through the Colossus. The
Yeah,
Colossus
in
was
the
gonna
Colossus,
fly.
So
and
they
then they
have-
get to Earth.
They have
Yeah.
jetpacks or something, right?
And then they
Right,
just
they
drop
can
to the
absolutely
earth.
fly. They can fly just as well as the Predator suit, if not significantly better. They're
That's
like
unfair.
aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
They're like aircraft.
That's not fair.
we said they dropped to the earth like Admiral's pods, right?
Those are the all reds, which
Justification.
are more human looking, but a similar type of flight. They are very fast. They possess the all red weapon, the Photoshop erase tool. So
But
think
they-
about 100 million rays of violent sunshine trying to take you out amidst extremely powerful bolts of lightning moving Earth and the Colossus itself, although you don't have to contend with the wolf anymore.
Are they immune to their own sunshine beam?
No.
So if like we get one of them to fire at us way over here,
With a mirror.
he could.
Oh, I'll put myself in one of
Everybody
the
in line.
mines and then use the baby.
We'll find.
All right, we'll find
next
out
time,
everything that we're about to talk about.
Oh
on
boy!
Episode 9 out of 10 of One Giant Leap. Look how far we've come. Look how far we have to go.
It's almost like we've
A
taken
lot-
2 leaps.
Perhaps. It has been a privilege and an honor and a pleasure having you all here with us. I am Ian, the One Giant Leap crew, Story Together, and that's a wrap.